Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brewbuilt X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brewbuilt Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brewbuilt line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brewbuilt X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brewbuilt Conicals. You can trust Brewbuilt with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brewbuilt at morebeer.com.
People to believe in me, and I want people to believe in me when they taste my beer. That's what it's about.
You mean you laid underneath it and tried to
put his tongue up the bung?
I like to actually scoop up the yeast and look at it.
7 o'clock came real early that next morning.
Yeah, man. Thanks for dumbing that down for us. You did an awesome job. It's all about food and beer.
Punch me in the junk. Man, that thing was thick.
The point is just beat it like it's your dick.
I like to smell it afterwards.
Are you being sarcastic right now?
Yeah. Bring your body armor.
I ran in my junk once on a ball valve in a kettle.
That's a true happy ending.
Now, live from the Brewing Network studios in Northern California, this is the radio program for home brewers, craft brewers, beer lovers, and beer geeks. It's your only source for live beer radio that brings expert brewers together with, well, expert drinkers. This is the radio program with a head on it. This is The Session.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the program. It's another great session here from Pacheco, where the sun is warmer than where it is
Wherever you are.
Yeah. There. It's warmer here.
Here.
There. Right here. It's really, really warm here, but not in the new BN studio, where it's only slightly warm.
Slightly warmer.
Slightly warmer. Welcome to the program, everybody. A lot of things to do today, as always. We got a good show planned for you. Thank you to Shat, the producer, who's just done a wonderful job, as always. Shat. Thank you, Shat. Good job, Shat.
That's where you talk, Shat.
I don't think it's on.
God damn it, Shat.
What'd I tell you before the show, Shat? I take it all back. Shat sucks.
Yeah. Thank you and good night, please.
Shat and Tasty just got back from the Northern California Homebrew Festival. And
did you guys get married up there?
What's left of us is here. I mean, we left some of us back there on the hill.
I haven't been in 2 years now.
No.
I didn't go last year because of dead people, and I didn't go this year because I didn't want to go.
Good reason for both.
Yeah.
You were missed.
Honest.
Okay.
I wanted to go to Sean Paxton's dinner. I'll tell you that.
That's worthwhile, for sure.
And I wanted to go and drink some of the homebrew there. I like the Saturday festival part. But the rest of it is it's draining. I could see it on your faces. It's how I would have felt had I gone. So how was it? Is it worth the way you look and feel right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd go again every time.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun.
You didn't go last year either, did you, Shad? So you skipped a year. And how was the BN Army presence there?
It was substantial. Yeah, and they're very dedicated, too, so it was pretty cool running into them.
Now, by substantial, you don't mean you two jumbo guys wandering around.
No,
you mean there were others.
Others, yes.
Cool.
Exactly.
And how was Paxton's famed NCHF dinner?
It sucked.
No, it's really good as usual. It's like it starts at 7 and it's over at 10.
Yeah.
Chad and I, the dessert course was coming up, and we just, I don't know, somebody called us from the campground, and we needed to get over there, so we had to skip the last course. And
to go have a meeting?
Yeah, meeting.
Unless there was a donkey show, I don't think you walk out of Paxton's dessert.
Yeah, well, he called us out on that the next day.
He did?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Did he see you guys leaving?
We were sitting in the front row. I think we might have VIP seating or something.
I see.
Yeah.
He probably had a webcam on you.
We probably had extra large portions for you guys.
Bigger double desserts? Yeah.
He had you on the tasty
What was
cam.
that? It was some sort of hop ice cream, Holler Tower ice cream, I think we missed.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Wow.
Sorry.
Sounds good.
Can't even tell you about it.
Yeah. What was on the what was on
I have nothing to say about it.
But I read off the menu.
Yeah, it's apple strudel and what was it, hop ice cream or something.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You guys,
Tower.
you brought your own dessert anyway. Let's face it.
Each other.
What about the main meal? What did you guys get into there?
We
All kinds of
had
stuff.
several meat entrees, so we had like a couple different sausages.
Yeah.
What was the other thing?
He makes those sausages by hand, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Him and his volunteers, yes. Which
Right.
One of which was you this year, Tasty.
Chad volunteered. We did last year too. This is 2 years in a row. Went up there and played with the sausage.
Yeah. How do you approach that? Inviting a bunch of dudes over to your house to play with your sausage.
Yeah.
Stuffed sausage party.
Pretty easily.
Apparently.
Yeah, then he had two other guys that hadn't done it last year there, and I thought, oh, this is really going to be like a...
They were new guys.
I'm going to find out what the real deal is.
I see.
Yeah, no, but they were straight up.
How was their technique?
It was good. They really know how to handle the sausage.
That's good. What about beers that got paired? Because he always gets beers donated for that.
Yeah, that
Anything,
went really
notable?
well. A lot of them included into the dish itself, so that
Right.
you can pick it out of the sauce or whatever. Pretty nice.
That's cool. Peter Hoey was there, so he had a beer in the dinner.
From Sack Brewing.
From Sack Brewing, and he's got some cool projects coming up that I'm sure we'll hear about soon. And yeah, it was just great company for that night. Sully was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who else was there. That's pretty much it. Oh, Don Barclay from Napa Smith.
Cool.
He was there, and yeah, it was a good time Friday night.
Saw Jameel tweeting about some of the beers that were being paired. He was there with you guys, right?
What did he have to say?
Just talking about a lot of good beers. Talked about Peter Hoey's beers from Sacramento. In fact, I think the one that he mentioned from him possibly was a Berliner Weiss style beer. Don't quote me on that. I'm just trying to remember. I was kind of drunk while I was getting his tweets. I just found it interesting that he talked about each beer, with the meals. So that was good.
It's pretty random that Jameel would be, camping and then and tweeting. He doesn't seem like a tweeter.
He tweets a lot now. I think you can go to Mr. Malty over on Twitter, and that's his feed. He only tweets about beer. So every time he has a beer, he does a little description of it. And you really get to understand how often Jameel has a beer if you subscribe to his Mr. Malty feed. Because there are some nights, days, I should say, where it seems like a friggin' marathon up there in Elk Grove. You start getting tweets at 10 a.m. and they stop around 11, 12 at night. So sometimes that guy really likes to sample beers. And but he does send out very just brief, insightful tweets about the beer he's drinking. Sometimes I tell him, you ought to work for some of these companies. Like tweets about Firestone, like 2/3 of his tweets, I think, are Firestone Lager beers. I think he really likes their beer. I told him, hey, I'm a fan too, but you're going to tweet that much about one company.
Yeah, come on now.
You got to, start charging.
Yeah, he's a professional tweeter. Yeah, maybe he's getting a couple bucks extra on the side.
At least
there.
get on the delivery route, for Firestone.
Professional
Drop a cake off here.
Professional tweet.
This fell off the truck, Mr. Malty.
Right here in Elk Grove.
We love your tweets.
Right. Yeah, this fully packed cooler with ice and everything fell off the truck.
Well, I can't find him on Facebook.
No.
Or Twitter or whatever.
Twitter.com/Mr. Malty. Didn't come up. Just use the actual URL instead of a search. You might find it that way. Anyway, you can find out more about us and Jameel. Twitter.com/Brewing Network. You can go over to our Facebook page. A lot of different things happening over there. Maybe we'll get some photos posted there soon. Did you guys take any photos at NCHF?
No, but there were plenty of people taking them, so we'll get some pictures.
We'll send them along.
There are all kinds of cameras there.
Chad outsourced the photo.
I love it.
Come on.
I love it.
What the
I
hell
have
are we gonna
no
take a picture
problem
of?
with any of you outsourcing.
Yeah.
You can outsource it all. I'm serious.
You really want to see our pictures?
Yeah, outsource all responsibilities.
Yeah. Be like pictures of Chad and Tasty's nuts.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you guys share a tent this year? Did you guys
No,
have
we were neighbors, though.
You were?
Which in tents is like being in the same tent. I mean,
Yeah.
We're in the More Beer camp.
You can hear everything out. God damn it, Tasty, I can smell it in my tent.
yeah, exactly.
More Beer kind of took over the top, so we joined them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. it was good.
Who went up for more beer this year? Because Chris Graham's out of the country.
Yeah, Randy the Mexican.
Good.
Ryan. Jesse was there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good turnout.
I really want Tasty and Chat to go camping and share a two-man tent.
One man.
It's possible.
An A-frame.
Share a one-man tent. Tasty, move over.
I can't, Chad. I'm already busting the seams out here.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
You got the pillow last night. I'm getting the pillow tonight.
I am the pillow tonight.
Nothing like that.
That wouldn't work. I think I need like 4 pillows of my own, so
to cover up Chet's snoring. I think.
Well, yeah. Well.
Do you want to hear a story about that?
Yeah.
McDole's a snorer.
Yeah.
No shit.
So I heard nicknames like Urban Bear. They were calling him.
Urban Bear.
He's the Paul Bunyan of sleeping.
You wouldn't believe how quiet campground is at night, except for that one guy that's snoring real loud,
Echoing among the trees.
I told everybody it was the guy in Chad's tent, so that to defer some of the.
I don't know, Tasty. What was that? No, I don't know. It came from behind me. Shit was weird.
No, it's funny because our neighbor came over. Some guy we don't know, and first time
Shut
there,
the fuck up!
he's like, man, is he okay? Like I think I heard him all night.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, you missed the handing out of earplugs, I guess.
Yeah, he wasn't there for the earplugs.
He's like, he was? He was handing them out? Oh.
It's the neighborly thing to do.
Now, is it just that it's constant, or is the decibel?
Oh yeah,
it's really loud.
It's serious.
Hey, he comes prepared. He brings earplugs.
Yeah, I mean,
he does a neighborly thing.
Enough for the whole camp, but I don't go out that far. Just the immediate radius, minus that one guy who
missed the.
I'm surprised he didn't throw something at the tent.
Always thoughtful, Tasty, bringing earplugs for the rest of us.
Seriously,
the Woods camped out across the way.
Yeah, they
were loud.
Across the road.
They were going at it. Huh?
You heard some stuff coming out of their tent too, huh?
Really? Like some beatings or some
beating? Are we talking about a fight, or
they can't take a weekend off? I don't know what to do with that.
So, what was he stabbing her, or was there?
We don't get an update. We don't know what's going on. Yeah.
See,
it's better.
He was prodding her with his 22-ounce bottle.
Sounds like we should high five Andy next time we see him.
I think so. Who makes more noise, Andy or Kim?
Hard to tell who's who.
Really? Oh. They're both kind of high pitched. Hit me! No, you hit me! No, you hit me! Oh God! I love it. That would be great if you can't tell which is which. It's fantastic.
Double wood in the woods.
We're going to have to go camp out at the Woods house, I think, JP. It's not stalking if we bring a tent.
They demand us to go there at some point.
They do?
Yeah.
All
right. What's up with the phones? Bug wants me to answer the phone. He's demanding that I answer the phone, but
yeah, we don't have a phone screener today. Bevo is off on another goddamn vacation. Girl takes more vacations than people who don't have jobs. Like, she takes more vacations than Chad.
That can't be.
And so, yeah, her and Sammy are off at Yosemite, so we don't have a phone screener today. JP's going to do his best to moderate the chat room.
Yes.
Although you know how involved in the discussions JP tends to get, and so I'm sure that multitasking of helping Nathan with his dry hopping discussion today and reading your comments is going to be difficult. So.
Well, I really appreciate that because I think I do a pretty good job, and it's nice to get noticed about it.
Absolutely. I just want everyone to know what a great job multitasking you do.
Thank you.
So, JP will be in there taking your questions, so you can still ask that way. I do have Skype up and running. I will attempt to, look at it and answer it when I can. But no guarantees, and I don't like taking phone calls. We don't have a screener anyway, and that's your fault, not mine. You call in the middle of a dry hopping discussion to talk about your new, Euro-style bikini underwear. It's just random discussions end up happening, and after all, this is a beer show, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I thought we didn't do that anymore. That's why I came out today.
Right. That's why Nathan's with us. He's like, you don't do beer anymore. I'm in. Just, if you want to use Skype, I'll do my best. Otherwise, just talk to JP through the chat room. The studio cam is up and running, though. You can go to justin.tv/brewing network and check that out. It's probably pointing right at Mr. Nathan Smith's beautiful, smiling face. Right now. Yeah. And,
check my teeth. Anything in them?
Now, it was my birthday last night, and Nathan came out to hang out with us.
Yeah, cool.
JP was out.
Yeah, rare sighting.
It was weird. I don't know. You must really like me. You went all the way to San Francisco, JP.
Well, it was hot.
Wow.
Out here.
I see.
It wasn't that hot out there. So
JP was even socializing a bit. That was maybe a shocker.
He didn't
for the
just show up. He spoke.
He was
to
actually
people.
talking to people. I saw it. I witnessed it.
Well, I talked to people that I knew. I don't know if you noticed, but like 3 people I didn't know there, I didn't say hi to because I.
Right.
Did you make eye contact?
It took me a while, like at dinner for Miguel and whatever her name was. But then that other dude joined us at La Tra.
Yeah.
And I had no idea until someone forced the issue, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?"
Yeah.
And then I immediately turned back to Nathan, and he kept talking about nonsense.
Got it.
So.
we had good beer at La Trappe. It's a nice Belgian place there in San Francisco. And we met a dude there who had just come back from Berlin. He's a chef for La Trappe on occasion. And he was in Berlin, and he brought us back some... he didn't bring it back for us, but he shared it with us. He brought back a lot of bottles of a Berlin Pilsner. Local Berlin, Northern German Pilsner. I'm a little hungover. You're going to have to bear with me today.
Yeah.
And he shared it with us, to the different kinds. It was really fresh. He brought it back in the plane, so no oxidation issues, and some really, really good stuff.
Fantastic.
Very perfumey.
Really perfumey.
Saws-like perfumey.
Yeah, and a pretty... I don't know if this is a good description, but a crisp and strong bitterness. I mean, they were pretty bitter. A lot more bitter than our Pilsners. Even our craft. I mean, I'm talking about our craft beer. In fact, I'm drinking a Lagunitas Pilsner right now. Well more bitter than this Czech-style Pils from Lagunitas. That Northern German Pilsner style is just...
tends to have a really solid bitterness with the higher mineral content. The water really helps drag that out, too. It's kind of interesting.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Just a really good profile. And then he gave us sort of their, 47-cent a bottle edition of a Northern German Pils. And you know what? That was pretty goddamn good, too. You could taste the difference. He said it was basically their cheap stuff. It was their old English. It was their, that's when you're on the cheap and you're drinking all day, this is what you buy. And you could tell the difference in quality. I think in the malt backbone was a little thinner and cornier, but still a pretty decent beer. I mean, I'd take it over almost any of our lagers.
Sure, cheap German beer tends to be quite nice, regardless. He had another beer with him, too. I didn't get a chance to try it, but Nicole had a taste. It was with a similar Northern German-style Pils, but it had pine oil or pine
tar, he
pine
said.
Tar. I'm curious what that was like. She said it was actually pretty good.
I tried it.
What did you think?
It didn't taste any different than any of the rest. No. And I was trying to ask him why there was pine tar in it, and I don't think we were speaking the same language.
Because airplanes are flying.
Yeah, because he didn't only not answer the question, he didn't even really address the question. I don't know.
He was still in Germany.
There. Yeah. But anyhow, I did taste the beer, and his whole description of it is, it's a regular Northern German Pils, but this particular brewery adds pine tar to it. And I couldn't taste it. I'm not positive I know what pine tar tastes like anyway, but I think I would be able to pick it out in something clean like a Pilsner.
It sounds like something very pungent. I mean, you just think about pine tar or pine sol or something like that.
Yeah. I couldn't pick anything out. It was still just a good Pils to me.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And then you missed the Toronado, JP, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm weeping over that.
I got thrown out at the end of the night.
No.
Did you?
What?
Well, no, they were...
Sounds good.
Did you ask for change or something, or smile too much?
Well, no, they were
That place
closed.
burns to the ground.
It was last call, but I knew one of the bartenders and I knew the door guy, so I wasn't too worried about it. I had a couple beers in front of me that people bought me at last call, so it was kind of like I was trying to drink those. Plus, I had been drinking all night, so I was real chatty. I was having a nice conversation. And but lo and behold, the entire room had emptied except for like 4 of us, And we're right by the door. And finally, I just hear the guy, the bartender I don't know, just yell across the room. Stop talking, shut up, get out. And I was like, oh, he's probably talking to me because I don't think there's anybody else here. So, sort of got thrown out.
Good.
I don't feel bad about it, though.
No.
You should.
It's your birthday.
Yeah.
You're supposed to get thrown out
F
at least
that
or
guy.
something.
I hope it took him a while to get home, too. I really didn't. Usually I do feel bad about that stuff.
You should have poured the
didn't
beer
give a
out
shit.
all on the floor and all
Yeah.
across the clean pile of glasses
Yeah.
and then looked at him and took a shit on him. I hate
You love that place, JP. You don't you?
Burn it down. It was also Code's birthday.
Code writing fool.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Code.
Yes.
That's right. I think we share the same birthday every year.
He goes, I share a birthday.
Amazing. Weird.
I share a birthday with Justin too. Not that anybody cares. And then he logged out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. Little butthurt.
I think it was just a coincidence, but
Yeah, I'm not sure if our
birthday.
birthday was the same the year before, but it definitely was the same last year. And I guess it was the same this year.
Well, the calendar, the leap year, and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, he uses a different calendar than I do. So
He's on the. I don't know.
happy birthday, Code. A lot of birthdays going on lately.
No, only 2.
Better than death days. Now, Sammy's birthday was last weekend. You don't know or care, or because you didn't show up, which is also why you forgot it in this list.
Don't drink the Jägermeister.
I wanted to invite that guy out last night, but I don't have his contact info.
Oh, shame.
Bevo's off in Yosemite. So
he'd bring his own beverage, so he'd be sad to be fine.
Yeah.
Tell him to meet us somewhere else that we're not.
Yeah.
Oh, we changed our mind. But.
All right. Well, today's show, if you haven't figured it out already, features Nathan Smith, one of our favorite homebrewers around. We're going to be talking about dry hopping.
Yes.
And basically what's happened is, Nathan did a great IPA show for us. God, it was maybe 2 years ago now?
About a little more than a year ago.
A little more than a year. All right.
Yep.
Time flies. We must be having a lot of fun around here. And but since then, you've been getting a lot of questions about the dry hopping.
Correct.
Plus, you do a lot of I don't know if lots you do a lot of collaborations around here with local breweries where
Correct.
you're doing IPAs there too. So you've got a pretty hands-on knowledge about this, and you get questions all the time.
Right. So I get a lot of questions from the listeners in the past, and dry hopping seems to come up as far as process questions more than anything else. So I'm going to go over some basics and then get a little more specific on some of the information that we didn't get a chance to cover in the original IPA shows. A little bit of hop chemistry and a little more in-depth knowledge on hop oils for the dry hopping portion.
Okay.
Should be pretty good.
Good. I can tell by Tasty's contribution so far that he's going to be invaluable in this discussion today. Really?
Sometimes just being quiet when somebody knows more than you is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, shut up, Tasty.
I'm going to use that line. Thanks.
Just let it go.
Write that one down.
And I got to be nice to Tasty coming from beer camp. I can't get too harsh on him right now.
Wake me up if I fall off.
Yeah.
But you probably learned something from today's show, Tasty. You dry hop a lot of beers.
I'm a dry hopping mofo, yes, definitely. Right. I do a lot of beers.
So unlike some of the other IPA-specific dry hop information we had in some of the other shows I've talked about, this will apply to everything from pale ale to American brown ale to American stout, that kind of thing. We'll sort of open up the realm a little bit.
Okay, great. Other things we're talking about in today's show, we're going to be interviewing a new magazine coming out called Beer Connoisseur Magazine. And I think they're doing their launch at the Great American Beer Festival this year. So if you're going to that, you'll get to meet them there. But they've been in contact with Chad. We thought it was interesting. There's a lot of beer magazines out, so we're always curious when a new one's coming out. We're going to be talking to them on the phone here in the second segment and find out what we can expect from Beer Connoisseur Magazine. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention today, and not necessarily as a whole topic, because I'm just learning about it, I just wanted to mention that I've been home coffee roasting lately. And I kind of drink... I don't know if I drink a lot of coffee, but I have a couple cups a day. Yeah, and so, I'm not one of these guys who goes to the Starbucks all day long, like at lunch. And a lot of people, they drink coffee all throughout the day. And I wake up, I have a couple cups, and I'm done with it. But I like good coffee. And so I thought, Beer More Beer has the whole coffee roasting thing. And I thought, well, listen, it's another do-it-yourself kind of thing. Seems pretty quick and easy. And so I've been giving that a try. Got a little iRoast roaster, I think it is, for More Beer there. And I just want to talk about it a little bit. It's pretty it's easy to do. And I'm not going to say yet that my coffee is better than the coffee that I can buy, because I think I've got the roasting part down. I still can buy better coffee that I'm making right now.
Well, yeah.
But I'm not sure that I can purchase better beans off the shelf than I can buy. I can buy some pretty awesome beans from More Coffee, More Beer. It's hard for me to call it More Coffee. It's More Beer to me, but More Coffee has all these different kind of beans, and I think I'm getting some really high-quality, fresh beans. Maybe you could speak more to that than me, JP, but that stuff seems like it's not... it's very fresh and green and wet sometimes. I mean, you guys are getting it fresh off the boat.
Yeah, it's we can buy them in smaller lots than obviously like a Starbucks or whatever. They have to do blends a lot of the time.
Okay.
So a lot of times you get their Kenya or their Sumatra. It's usually a blend of from different estates and stuff, because they just no farms can grow that much. So doing the home coffee roasting thing is pretty cool if you want to really target specific farms, specific regions, and you can get some pretty cool flavors out of it.
Okay. Well, and I learned a little bit about this coffee roasting deal when I went to the Kona Brewers Festival, because I met.
Really?
If you check out the BN Army blog, if you haven't done that, when I went to they were doing a homebrew competition, and where they were doing the judging was at a dude's house where he's also has a small coffee plantation. So I talked to him a little bit about it, and that's kind of what first got me interested.
Oh, that's cool.
And so the whole deal is how long you roast this stuff. Like, you take these beans, right? And of course it depends on where they come from, just like with your hops and your grains and your grapes and anything like that. It does depend on the soil, the climate that they're grown in. But then from there, it's how long you roast it. So with my iRoast thing, it's like there's a couple settings. Like I can just press the setting number 1, which is a certain amount of time, setting number 2, which is a certain amount of time, or I could run them through twice, right? Like, you can go really dark with these things.
Right.
Well, the first time I did it, I filled the entire house with smoke. I'll tell you that.
Oh, you did it inside?
Yeah, my first tip for you is not to roast your coffee inside.
Yeah, and that's...
Did everybody else know that but me?
Yeah, well, pretty much. Well, you didn't get the benefit of the directions.
No, there was no directions for me.
Yeah.
I did have Chad saying, I think you push this button. So I definitely had help, but directions, I would say not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say, I probably roasted 2 batches before I figured out, God, what? Because I just thought the smell was, well, of course it's going to smell, but I'm roasting coffee.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I started choking on the smoke on the second roast that I was like, oh, yeah, it's probably supposed to be done outside.
Yeah, so that's normal. You're not supposed. You will get smoke every time you
get smoke.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
absolutely. And so now I do it on the back patio, and even then, it's pretty. It's a pungent aroma, so
it's very overpowering.
Yeah, so you get and it's not. It smells like you're burning something. I mean, it's not that nice. Like when you brew a cup of coffee, that smell, that really nice coffee. Right. It's not that. It's a burning
it's like
smell,
burning leaves or something.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, it's the heat brings out the oils in the coffee.
Yeah,
and they'll smoke. You're cooking something.
You're cooking some of those oils off, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you let them rest for a couple of days.
Yeah, what's that about? Because I was ready to grind it up and make a cup right now, and Chad told me, no, you're supposed to let it like overnight or something.
They actually off gas.
Exactly,
beans
right?
do, so they off gas like CO2.
Oh,
and then just from a practical standpoint, you want to let them do all the off-gassing they can, because if you grind them up and put them in your coffee and you put in water, like if you're making a French press or something, you put them in there, they'll actually foam. They'll actually foam up because the gas is coming out. So you let it sit in 24 hours, 48 hours, and that should be fine. It also lets everything kind of mellow a little bit.
Okay.
7 days is the limit, because out of oxygen, out of light, because just like hops. Oxygen will kill, make things go rancid. It'll turn the oils have this like rancid meat flavor,
which is why everything eventually is like vacuum sealed when I go buy coffee beans.
Exactly.
And stuff. Okay.
Stale coffee is oxidized. It has rancid qualities to it. It's awful.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I'm having fun with it. I mean, it's pretty easy. It doesn't take a lot of time. I mean, these roasts, you're really talking about a couple of minutes when you're roasting. Because you're only doing a small quantity. I guess if it was a big thing, people have to roast longer. But
well, it also depends. I mean, you should go longer.
Yeah.
Really, there's some roasters out there that do it like 4 minutes and 5 minutes, and it's just like one temperature. But it's kind of think of it like a step mash, where there's actually different temperatures that. Just bring out different flavors and kind of do different things.
Okay.
So 15 minutes is pretty good. But the cool thing about the iRoast, the one that you have, is it does have 2 presets.
Yeah.
One kind of for a lighter roast and one kind of for a darker roast. And of course, depending on the ambient temperature and stuff like that. So if it's 40 degrees outside, you're not going to get the same roast level as an 80.
Yeah.
If it's 80 degrees, if you hit the first preset or whatever. But I just use the first preset and you walk away.
That's what I was
easy.
Yeah.
So you punch in a temperature, but it's relative to the ambient temperature.
Well, you can dial it in and do your own kind of raises and lowers,
right?
And you can actually program this one, but it does have 2 presets. So you just hit one,
got it,
and then go, and then it does the whole thing.
So when you guys buy the beans to do this, it's a blend of different beans from different origins, or usually it's single origin kind of thing?
Single origin, single farm, usually, depending on what we buy.
Right.
The Kenya, sometimes we can get like different estates. Actually, a lot of times we do. Sometimes they're a blend, but like Sumatra is usually a blend. Because all these different estates just do it in one co-op, so they just combine all of their beans.
Okay.
Really.
Got it.
But a lot of times we do have a lot of specialty stuff where we'll only get 2 sacks. Which is, a sack is like 100 pounds, 130 pounds.
It's one more sack than I have.
Yeah.
Well, I'm having fun with it, and I recommend. To me, because that whole kind of set it and walk away thing makes it a little easier, and it's fun to taste the different coffees. The different beans, not just how long I roasted it, but from the different plantations that I'm getting it from. So it's fun. It's kind of easy. I don't know if anybody's interested. I'll report back on it as I figure it out. I don't know. It just seemed like kind of a lot of people are drinking coffee anyway. It's another brew it at home type of thing.
It's definitely a nice little kind of offshoot to brewing. It's very very similar and
a fraction of the time, which is appealing to me.
That's true. I mean, I still buy Starbucks coffee. I still go to Starbucks and buy cups of coffee.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, it's hard to get that same flavor, but you save if you're buying coffee. You can save 50% roasting your own.
Right.
Is you buy green beans for $4 a pound or something like that.
Yeah, once you get over the cost of the roaster, because depending on which one you get, they can be a little pricey. But once you've recouped that in savings, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if I go buy good coffee, what are they in, like pound bags or something? It's $10.
Oh yeah,
for a decent coffee. So I'll take $4 over that any day.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. Buy more ramen.
Outsource the roasting to Chad or something?
Yeah, thinking about that. I'll probably start.
Push the button for you.
I'm working on outsourcing pretty much everything. So yeah, I'll just call him from the studio. Hey, Chad, what's happening? I'll just watch TV. All right, do me a favor, get up and push that button for me, will you? Thanks, buddy. Just, not that I'm busy. I'm on the other side of the house. I'm in the West Wing, so, do me a favor and push that button.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I've done it a few times. I think the only downside is the amount that you can do in each time.
Right.
It's a small amount, so...
How many cups worth, like that iRoast, for example, how many cups
4 ounces, can you do at a time?
It's 4 ounces of green beans, which is enough for a French press and a half or something like that.
Got it.
So you do have to kind of keep on top of it if you want to do it every day, but...
it's like doing small batches of beer, though. It's kind of cool. You can experiment, too, and do blends, so it's fun to do smaller amounts, too, but...
Yeah.
That's the only downside so far.
Yeah,
they just want to make more.
They have bigger roasters. They have a roaster that you can do a pound. The hard part is it's making that jump between a pound and the only next step is like commercial grade $1,000 systems and stuff. So home coffee roasting is still still ramping up.
Yeah,
but you can make some decent coffee.
Well, check it out if you're interested. You can go to morecoffee.com. And like I said, if anybody gives a shit, I'll keep reporting on how it's going, just to let you know, because it's pretty simple stuff, and it's kind of easy to learn. Even I can figure it out, which it's pretty impressive, if you ask me. All right, Chad, you got announcements for us?
I do.
All right, Chat's announcements are brought to you today by White Labs Yeast Company. Go to whitelabs.com. We love the White brothers. Mike White's going to be out of GABF, so say hi to him.
Cool. All right, well, first off, we have the Mad Zymer just putting on an Oktoberfest. It's a German-style homebrew competition that is taking place on the 10th of October. Entries are being accepted through the 26th of September, so that's the end of this week. Go to madzymerjust.org or oktoberfest.org. And then Seven Bridges is putting on an organic homebrew challenge. That's taking place on the 18th, but entries are due the 9th of October.
So I hope you guys are entering that. It's a sponsor of the show, they're a supporter, and it's just fun to be able to brew something that's different. Take your favorite beer and just see if you can source all of the ingredients organic just for the hell of it, not because you have to be a hippie.
Yeah, just go to breworganic.com. They've got it all right there. I'm sure you can just pick your recipe that you're doing at home and just switch it right over. And then, of course, GABF coming up this week. We'll be out there Thursday through Saturday, so that'll be a lot of fun. A lot of events going on outside.
Busy week there.
Yeah. A couple of AHA rallies coming up on the 10th of October in Minnesota at Surly Brewing. That's taking place on October 10th. And the 24th is another rally, and that's taking place at Left Hand in Colorado. And... our buddy Stu over at BelgianBeerMe.com. He's doing a couple tours. Go to BelgianBeerMe.com and check out those tours.
All right.
That's all I got.
Great. Thanks, Shat. Yeah, GABF, it's going to be a busy week, but you don't have to be going there to get in on the action. The Brewing Network is bringing you back a ton of footage this year. What I think I have set up is I'm going to have internet all 3 days of the festival, which I don't always have. And I'm going to try to webcam each of the panels that we're doing. I am the host of the Brewers Pavilion, so we'll be doing 2 to 3 discussions a night from there with top brewers and professionals from all over the place. And if all goes well, and I do have that connection like I should, I'm going to turn on the webcam. Same thing you're viewing right now. If you're over at justin.tv/Brewing Network, you'll get the audio and the video footage of what's happening so you can see these guys. You should be signed up for our Twitter account, and that way I'll make sure that you know. But we do have a full schedule of events, so I'll put that on the forum. You can also go to gabf.org, I think it is, and check out the schedule over there so that you can watch all that stuff. I'll be recording all the audio, too, and putting it up for download later. But the video probably won't be available for download, so you just want to check it out live. So
cool.
And then Shat will be manning the booth along with Bevo and sometimes Tasty. We're going to be doing some homebrew demonstrations over there. So if you are going to the GABF and you're bringing some friends of yours who are beer drinkers but not yet homebrewers, bring them by Homebrew Central, which is the BN booth, and check it out because we'll be doing some demonstrations. We'll be playing some Beer Jeopardy over there. We'll be showing some of the videos that we've put together over the over the years. A lot of stuff happening over there. A lot of merch over there, and you might run into people like Push Eject hanging out. So he's big time. That Push, like girls swoon.
He's a little guy, but he's big time.
He's big time. JP cries in his presence.
I do.
Oh God, it's Push.
It is.
He is the man.
I like that.
Yeah, he is the man, though. That's just to quote a famous man.
He is the man.
He's the man.
All right, subscribe, join the BN Army, etc., etc. How about some feedback? Should we do that? Let's do that real quick, then we'll take a break.
Sure. I think
You've got mail.
Kick ass.
Yes, JP?
I thought you wanted personal feedback.
Oh, no. All right, feedback's brought to you by Williams Brewing. Go to williamsbrewing.com. Don't forget about those guys. They've been with us for a long time now, and it's a good homebrew shop online. You can order all over the place. They got a lot of good stuff, and they're real friendly. Nice people. I like them. All right, what have I got in the feedback for you today? Hello, Sunday Sessioners. I'm a newbie brewer, and I've been listening to podcasts and gaining good knowledge from y'all. You do a great show. He's from Tennessee.
Oh.
So
he's Piney Wood?
He's allowed to use y'all.
Did you say y'all in the mail?
It's not Piney Wood, but I did get a request to play Piney Wood at the breaks.
Wood.
But I don't have any official Piney Wood. I only have unofficial Piney Wood.
You didn't go up the road to his producer buddy and say, hey, what's
I need some?
Yeah, what it do, partner?
What it do? Hey, partner. What it do? I didn't do that. No. Will that work?
Sure.
Well, is that all I have to say, and then he'll just hand me a CD? Is that?
Well, you go, what it do, and then he knows that you're in. And you go, hey, let me get some hot ones off Piney Wood.
Say, Piney Wood, dropping new joints. He'll probably be like, Justin, I do not smoke.
Yeah. What are you even referring to, young fella?
Yeah.
Here's a nickel. Buy a gumball.
All right. So this guy says, I was listening to your 10/23/05, the mini mash show we did back in 2005.
Wow.
And
really?
He says, I mentioned a listener who came to California and did a brewery tour, Russian River, Lagunitas, etc. He says the Frisco, Napa area seems to be a mecca for great craft breweries.
Don't call it Frisco, please.
So a show or maybe just a segment on good nearby breweries, brew pubs would be cool. My wife's a wine lover, so you might suggest how to combine the two. He says, understand that folks like me live in areas devoid of decent breweries, and it sucks. That's from John in Memphis. I'm not going to do that show, John. I do appreciate the suggestion, but I will tell you this. You can go over to Beer School, beerschool.com, I think it is, and they did a really good show about how you can go, how to get around and all the great destinations in the Bay Area. And I don't think I could do a better job than they did. They were very thorough, talked about all the places you can get to. And with us, we get yelled at for being too West Coast-centric all the time. Because, I apologize, I live on the fucking West Coast. But, we try our best to expand and get as many people in as we can. But if we did a show where we sat down and go, all right, it's the West Coast show, the hate mail would be to no end.
Yeah.
And it's not the fun kind of hate mail, it's the annoying kind, so I'm not going to, But beerschool.com, check those guys out, and they did a whole show on it. Hey, Brewcasters, I was just listening to your last show on beer calculations with John Palmer. On the show, you talk about different methods of taking your pre-boil gravity with a hydrometer. Whenever I take my pre-boil gravity, I take the temperature of the wort, and I use a worksheet to correct the increased temperature. And I didn't hear anybody bring this up, so I was curious about its accuracy. Thanks for all you do. That's Ken. So, Nathan, you want to address that?
Yeah, I would say save yourself the hassle and get yourself an automatic temperature correction refractometer. Thank you, JP.
Right.
And you're welcome, Nathan.
I've cracked hydrometers myself with putting them in really hot liquid, and was sort of bummed about that. And then you don't know where you're at. So if you really want to know pre-boil gravity, the temperature correction refractometer is the way to go. It just makes it simple. You're done in 2 seconds.
You know, I've also seen some posts on the forum in different places. You know, there's a temperature correction on all the brewing software.
ProMash has one that's really good.
But I've heard it's not so accurate. I've heard that when people, used a temperature correction on the program and then did their own hydrometer reading, it was a couple of points off.
Oh, interesting.
In some cases, I saw people reporting like 4 Plato points off.
Right.
So I'm not speaking for that whether it's true. Have you noticed that it's? Have you ever used the software version?
Yeah, I have used the temperature correction. Haven't noticed a big difference, but I'm usually only correcting for 2 to 3 degrees. If you're correcting for 10, 15 degrees, I could see it losing accuracy just based on the way the formula works. Probably it's not 100% accurate.
Okay. Well, you do make a good point, though. Either way, if you're going to use temperature correction of some kind, you're still putting some boiling hot wort into your hydrometer into that, and I've broken one that way, too, actually.
Yeah, I did that once, and I'd never do that again.
Time.
Refractometer is the way to go. It's just makes it so much simpler. They're expensive, but you can find them for cheap if you look around eBay and whatnot, or Craigslist. People are getting rid of them because it's so specialized, and maybe people getting out of brewing or whatever. So
tell Chad where to find them cheap, because he breaks like one a week. He is
really, those things seem pretty durable.
Refractometers do not like Chad.
Running the Shadow over that or what? Yeah,
they're just cheap.
He's like finding the cheapest ones
made in China.
Those Chinese refractometers taking over the world. All right, here we go. Let's see. What up? He says, just wanted to drop a line and say that I'm a huge fan. Although I don't brew as much as I would like, I still get a lot out of the shows. You've all changed my brewing over the years. Reason I'm writing is that I got to meet Sean O'Sullivan this weekend at the Autumn Brew Review in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I think he must have been last weekend. It was towards the end of the night. I was pretty lit up by the time I got to meet him. But even though I was torched, he was extremely nice. How come there's always fire involved in drunken references? I get lit up, torched, flaming.
Blazed.
Oh wait, that's different.
Yeah, that's different.
Blazed. Why is it always? I'm just curious how it came to be that we associate fire with drunkenness. Okay, just putting it out there.
Fire water.
Even though I was torched, Sully was extremely nice. We chatted a bit, and then he took me behind some of the tables.
Whoa. Censored.
To grab some samples, you sickos, to get samples.
I get it.
He could not have been cooler. I just want to say thanks to Sully and the BN. Can't wait to get some of their beer here. BN Army for Life. That's from Eric, a.k.a. Boba Fett.
Are you going to answer him?
In the forum.
He asked what was up.
Oh,
he never answered.
What? He spelled it W-A-D up.
What up?
What up?
What up? But also there's a period, not a question mark, so I believe it was just a statement.
Oh.
Like Minnesota style.
Like what it do.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. What it do?
What up?
What it do?
What up?
All right. Yeah. Hey, that's cool. Sully is always. I've been hearing lots of good reports about Sully and his jaunts.
He's nice when he's out there.
Apparently, he's a friendly guy lately.
Yeah.
Must be lonely.
Yeah, he's on the road, so he's lonely.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'll talk to this guy.
Befriend me.
No, it's cool. No, Sully always tells me when he meets people out there, too. He loves it. All right. Hey, all. I just want to thank you guys for all the help you've given me with my brewing. The Michigan State Fair is one of the largest, if not the largest, single-state competition. This year, they were just shy of 700 entries.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good
that's
for
big.
A competition that's not the AHA conference. That's really big. I was fortunate enough to take 1 first, 2 seconds, 3 thirds, and 2 honorable mentions.
Oh,
Congratulations.
That's a lot of medals.
Wow. I tied for second for the Rex Halfpenny Award, which is the winningest homebrewer.
No.
Tied for second for that. I did see one other soldier haul in some awards, too. So my goal for next year is to have the BN place in the Club of the Year portion. Once again, thanks for all you do in homebrewing. That's from Mills. So, hey, that's awesome, Mills.
That's great.
Good work.
Very cool.
Love it when you put down the BN as your club. That's always, we like to be your club, and it gets the word out, too. So, it's a lot of fun. Always write in and tell us if you guys are doing well in competitions. We like to hear that
Oh,
stuff.
totally.
Yeah. All right, and that's that. That's going to be your feedback for today. Don't forget, feedback was brought to you by Williams Brewing. Go to williamsbrewing.com. They'll take good care of you. All right, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to talk to new beer magazine, Beer Connoisseur. So we'll see what they're all about, what we can expect. I don't think the issue comes out till December, but they're going to be launching at the Great American Beer Festival ahead of time. So we'll give you a preview on today's show, and then you can see them in Denver. So this is The Session. Dry Hopping with Nathan Smith coming up, too. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Hi, this is Push from the Brewing Network, and I want to tell you about the Brewmasters Warehouse and how you can get 10% off your next order. I'm a pretty techie guy, but I've never seen an online store like this. It's awesome. Go to brewmasterswarehouse.com and click on Brew Builder. You can whip up a custom recipe so easily even Sven could do it. Seriously, it's slick. You can share your recipe with your own logo and notes to the Brewmasters database if you want, and the best part, it keeps a running tally of the beer you're building while you're doing it. Then, bam, click Buy Recipe, and your cart is filled and ready to go with helpful suggestions in case you forgot something. This thing is amazing. Brewmasters Warehouse is run the way a home brewer would do it, with great service, fast turnaround, and $6.99 flat rate shipping. Brewmasters Warehouse and the Brew Builder blew me away. Check it out today at brewmasterswarehouse.com. I'm serious. And don't forget to put BNARMY in the discount code box for 10% off your order. Check out brewmasterswarehouse.com. Cheers.
Downtown Joe's, located in the historic Oberon building in beautiful downtown Napa, California, offers an award-winning brew pub experience from 8:30 a.m. to 1 a.m. every day. For 15 years at the corner of 2nd and Main, Downtown Joe's has been voted Best Night Spot 7 times and Best Brew Pub for the last 4 years in a row. Brewmaster Colin Kaminsky's handcrafted ales, like his Tail Wagon Amber Ale and Double Secret Probation IPA, are the perfect accent to riverside dining, live music, and a relaxing outdoor patio. Don't miss the Beer of the Month, special rotating taps, and the BN Army Member Special. Wear your BN gear, get 10% off your beer. Visit downtownjoes.com to make reservations, peruse their extensive calendar of events, or just read more about their fantastic beers. Come enjoy the fine beer, food, and music. Downtown Joe's, the award-winning brew pub where you'll feel at home. In the past year, the Brewing Network has been able to add 2 new shows, expand our studio capabilities and quality, and bring more beer information home to you than ever before. In no small part, this is due to subscribers like you. Thank you from all of us at the Brewing Network. Without your monthly support of any denomination, we could not bring you the very best in live beer radio like Can You Brew It, Brew Strong, and the Sunday Session. Haven't signed up yet? Join your fellow brewers in the BN Army. Sign up today at thebrewingnetwork.com for a recurring donation as little as $2 a month. Besides all the great live radio you'll support, every subscriber is automatically entered in monthly raffles for amazing brew gear like a conical fermenter, a temperature control system, or your own draft setup. Become a part of the BN Army today.
Regan, do you remember when you graduated from the Brewmasters Academy?
Ein herzlich willkommen wünsche ich euch.
I'm so excited. Graduation day.
1984.
What? What is this guy even saying right now, Regan? Quiet. What, like you know what he's talking about? Yeah, I do.
Wenn einer von euch wirklich auf meine Bauch kacken möchte...
Ah, forget it! I'm going to brew anyways.
Celebrate the Brewmaster in each of us and become a More Beer Brewmaster. More Beer is offering every one of their Brewmaster and Signature Series kits at discounted prices all month. Brewmaster kits are clone beers of your favorite commercial brewers like Russian River, Rogue, the 21st Amendment, and more. And Signature Series kits are award-winning recipes from some of the best homebrewers around. Guys like Ray Daniels, John Palmer, Shap the Producer, and Jamil Zainashev. It's Brewmaster Month all September long, only at morebeer.com.
This is www.thebrewingnetwork.com.
Sit down next to it, grab yourself a paper towel, and watch those yeast have sex.
You're listening to the Brewing Network.
The Brewcasters. The Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Justin.tv/Brewing Network. If you want to watch the studio cam, you can join the Jipper in the chat room right now. He'll be moderating your chattiness.
That's me.
Yeah,
I am here.
You can ask questions all throughout the show through the chat. For example, you might ask questions of our next guest, which is Beer Connoisseur Magazine. They're on the line with us. You can go to beerconnoisseur.com, check it out, and look around, see what they got going. Assuming you can spell connoisseur. I could not. I had to Google it and get close, and then Beer Connoisseur came up for me. Hey, guys, you on the line with us?
Yep, we're here. Hey, how's it going?
Going all right. I do believe we're speaking to Chris Miller and Lynn Davis, both of Beer Connoisseur. Do I have that right?
Yeah, we also have Nick Kay, who's our managing editor, and Doug Cunnington, and he's an avid supporter of the Beer Connoisseur magazine, so thanks for having us on.
No, glad to have you. I did some looking over at beerconnoisseur.com to prepare for this and see what you guys have going on. It's a really nice website, and I'm curious.
Thank you.
Curious about the magazine. Why don't we start with the basics, guys? There's a lot of beer magazines out there. So, what's your plan? What are you guys going to put out there for us?
Well, hey, yeah, this is Nick. As Lynn said, I'm the managing editor. The Beer Connoisseur really is a serious and sophisticated look at beer culture. It's a lifestyle magazine, kind of in the mold of Cigar Aficionado, Gourmet, Food and Wine. There are a number of great beer magazines out there, but, we don't think there's one that really treats beer as well as its producers and its fans with the kind of respect they deserve.
Okay.
The craft beer movement, it demands an authority, we think, at this point, and kind of an expert yet approachable source for information.
I like the idea that we try to, we consider ourselves very serious about beer here. We take our beer seriously.
That's about all, though.
Not stuffy, but serious.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, exactly, and I like that idea. I mean, I think that there are some pretty focused and serious homebrew magazines. I think you make a good point when it comes to a craft beer magazine, and I would like to see the same kind of respect that wine gets in terms of pairing beer with food and things like that. Is that part of the goals for you guys?
Absolutely. We want to appeal to both experienced beer drinkers and all the really interested newcomers that are out there. There's a lot of them. Beer is being taken more seriously these days. It's definitely getting up to the level of wine in a lot of ways, and the magazine will definitely reflect that.
Okay.
We'll look at all the different places that beer intersects with the various parts of our lives, from travel to food to sports to politics to business and music, even.
Oh, great! I like the. See, soon I'm not going to do anything but drink beer. I'm going to read a magazine like this, and I'm going to discover that while I'm reading, I should be drinking. While I'm walking, I should be drinking. While I'm going to sporting events,
while you're drinking, you should be.
While I'm drinking, I should have a backup. Yeah,
that's your first main article. You're featured how to drink more while drinking.
Good idea. Now, when is the first issue slated to come out?
It's coming out. It'll be on the newsstands nationally, December 8th, and we're located here in Atlanta, Georgia. So starting out, we're using the resources that we have, and our heaviest distribution will be here in Atlanta in the southeast. But you'll be able to find it in the bookstores like the Barnes and Nobles and Borders and all the major markets nationwide. So
okay.
So that's the game plan, and then as interest allows, our intention is to grow it as quickly as we can, and going to put 11,000.
I think I might have just lost him. You guys either hung up on me or you muted me. I still see him connected on this end, so maybe let me just give him a minute before I call him back. And it's probably because there's like 15 of them in one room. Somebody just sat on the phone. Yeah. Curious about how much it costs to
Start a magazine?
It can't be cheap, right?
It's got to be over $1.
It's at least over $1.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Well, maybe. But
$1.50.
Yeah.
If you'd like to make a call.
Right. Oh. Hey, guys.
Are you having difficulties?
Yeah. I know what kind of technical difficulties. Someone just dropped a beer on the phone. That's what happened over there.
Yeah, Lynn apparently thought the hang-up button was the mute button.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I did have a couple questions. We kind of left off, talking about distribution out there. So I'm curious, a couple things. How often will the magazine be put out? Is this every other month, like a lot of the beer periodicals?
No, we're going to start out quarterly, and then the intention is to increase it to bi-monthly and just cap it at that. But in this economy, in this market, I think quarterly is an appropriate frequency to start out with, and I mean, just the economy has just killed the magazine market, and beer's hot, obviously, and it's a great place. It's a great industry to be launching a magazine in, but still.
Lynn just found the mute button again.
Look at this one.
I hope the magazine's a little less glitchy than the telephone. It's probably. Oh, there they are. Hey, guys.
Oh,
am I losing you?
Hey, well, we're back.
Cell phone.
All right.
I think when you mute, it's muting everybody's.
I think that's what's happening.
Hey, you guys still there?
Yeah, we're here.
All right.
We've got some rookies on the conferencing equipment, so I apologize about that.
Yeah. They just went down to the Walmart and got like a speakerphone before the show.
That's what I would do too, man.
Come on, every magazine's got to be on a shoestring budget right now. You talk about the economy, so no, it's no problem. I am curious about that though, guys. Yeah, I try to pay attention to all the media, just media in general, and I definitely agree with you that magazines are taking a hard hit right now in advertising, and you guys are just about to launch. How are you able to do it? Do you all still have day jobs, or are you throwing it all at this magazine right now?
Yeah, I mean, what some of the other beer magazines have done is gone out and raised a lot of capital to launch, and at one point in the game, I started this idea 4 years ago, and it's finally coming to fruition now. There was a period of time where we tried to do the big money raise to make it happen, and then the economy stuff kind of took over, and now we're just building this thing from the ground up. So everybody who's contributing, with the exception of myself, has day jobs and are contributing every other hour that they have available to the magazine, and then this is I'm doing this full time. So like all of our writers, all of our contributors, I mean the reason this has becoming a success is by the contribution of some really great people. And they just have believed in the idea and understand what it's like, especially in this economy, to try to launch something. And we're not a bunch of big corporate guys that have come in and tried to launch this big magazine, and they've dedicated their time to it. And a lot of people, it's just all been pro bono work with the belief that it can be successful, and we've gotten some really fantastic contributors like Stephen Beaumont and Carolyn Smigalski, and we've got Nick Kay, who came to us from the New York Times. He's just he couldn't have picked a better managing editor, and
great.
Chris Miller's our big marketing guy, and has done some really incredible things with getting our name out there for very little dollars. So that's how we've been able to make it happen. Because we have low overhead.
From a marketing standpoint, apparently people just enjoy looking at pictures of me drinking beer.
Great.
So
that helps.
Yeah, that's kind of how we got started on Facebook. Was before we had writers and all that stuff, was basically me posting every other day drinking a beer. So.
And people like that.
I might be up for the drunk of the year
Oh.
Is that a category that you guys have?
It is. You have to have one drunk of the week at least once. So you could start this week if you wanted. You have to win drunk of the week first, and then you're in the running for drunk of the year.
It's not only a category; it's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
It's really what it is.
Yeah.
He's living it.
Yeah.
Well, I am that guy on the Beer Connoisseur magazine.
Good. Hey, every beer entity needs that guy, and you should be proud of it being him.
I am.
Be careful. Every winner past has disappeared.
Yeah, that's true. All of our drunks of the year have never shown up again.
Yeah.
They've become very ashamed of their award afterward.
So you might want to talk to your fellow compatriots there at the magazine. Make sure they're in for that.
I also have a piece of advice for you. The only one. Who is it? Lynn, who's the full timer?
Yeah,
right.
That's me.
Lynn, keep your pro bono workers away from my pro bono workers, because my pro bono workers will tell yours that we're now on our 5th year of broadcasting, and there's still a lot of goddamn pro bono going on around here.
I know. This is actually a phenomenon that started. Everybody's competing for the talent that can help out.
Yeah.
Everybody works for free beer, right?
That's true.
Honestly.
It's true. If you can get beer sent there to write about it, talk about it, then staffers do stay around quite a bit longer.
Yeah. All of our volunteers to the events get free beer.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Now, it looks like you've done a little bit of guerrilla marketing, too, to get the name out there. I noticed that you guys entered the Red Bull Soapbox competition and built a pretty badass soapbox car.
Yeah, you're right. It is truly, truly badass. It started out as a crazy conversation that Lynn and I had at our first festival we ever did together, where Red Bull was advertising their Atlanta race. And Lynn looks at me and he goes, man, I really want to do this for the magazine, but you're going to have to do it because I don't have a single minute to invest in it.
Okay. Nice. I like passing off work like that.
Right, yeah.
Outsourcing, sorry.
Yeah, so
I was like, Chris, we have $0 to invest in it, and I have no building capability and no time to invest in it. But
good luck, buddy.
You can do it, make it happen. And 3 months later, him and his brother and a couple other friends with some building capacity put this thing together and built this mash tun on wheels. And I mean, we had no idea that we would even place in this thing, and we went out there and won it, and nobody could believe it. It was unbelievable. And from a marketing standpoint, I mean, there's 50,000 people at the race, and
they let us do a full plug on the speaker system.
Yeah, great.
30 seconds about the magazine.
We were like on CNN's or ESPN's top 10 plays of the week and Fox Sports South.
No kidding.
It just blew up into this thing that, I mean, we had no idea it was going to blow up into. And I can officially say now that we have sold one subscrition total
due to that.
From all of that marketing effort.
So what's that? That's like $24.95 or something. What's your subscription rate?
Everybody's like, oh my God, this is going to be a turning point in the company. And I was like, hey guys, we sold one.
Yeah. Well, buy Chris a 12-pack then for doing all that work for that one subscription.
That's right.
Yeah, but how much soap can it carry, though?
I spent $1,000. I'm in marriage therapy right now for all the time I invested in building a soapbox, for God's sake.
Right. Well, it actually seemed well worth it. Listeners, like I said, go to beerconnoisseur.com. You can see pictures of this soapbox. It's really pretty badass. It's a big German-style copper-looking mash tun on 4 wheels hauling ass down the road, and they did really well. And so check it out. The Beer Geeks will love it. I think it was really well done. All right.
Actually, what's surprising is a lot more than just Beer Geeks got what we were trying to do.
Yeah,
that was the amazing part about it.
Really? In other words, people recognized that it was a mash tun?
Yeah, and the ones that, I mean, obviously with the name, the Beer Connoisseur as the team name, they understood it was about beer, but a lot of people that didn't know that much about beer came up and really asked us about it. And I mean, that was one of the major accomplishments in what we're trying to do with the magazine as well, is all the beer beginners or the group that drank a lot of high volume beer as college guys and just out of college guys that are growing up and want to kind of learn more about beer and the sophistications of beer. Those people came up and were asking us about it. So that was a big accomplishment for us.
Okay. All right, so let me ask a couple of the tough questions for you guys. There are other beer magazines out there. I'll be honest with you. I don't read all the beer magazines that are out there right now, and I'm kind of the epitome of a beer geek. Are you a little... Is it intimidating entering this market of other beer magazines? And not just that, so I'd like to know how you guys feel about it personally. But, in a less than sales pitchy kind of way, if you could, why do I care about Beer Connoisseur magazine?
Well, as far as the way we kind of view the beer magazine market is that I don't feel like we're trying to compete with anybody, and we're just trying to do our own thing down here, and we hope that we're trying to appeal to a demographic that isn't necessarily being spoken to, and I don't feel like we're trying to compete with anybody. If anything, I think all the beer magazines and us entering the beer magazine market, we complement one another, and what it does for beer on the newsstand is it just kind of helps solidify the beer magazine segment. And again, it's just I think we all help one another by creating this segment that didn't really exist a few years ago.
Yeah.
There's All About Beer magazine was pretty much it on the consumer side for years. And, Beer Advocates come out with their magazine, which is fantastic, and Draft has come out with their magazine that they've done really well, and it's a great magazine, and I think there's Beer Magazine as well, and, enter the Beer Connoisseur magazine on the consumer side, I think it kind of helps complete that that beer magazine segment. So,
are the other...
We're just trying to spread the word about good beer. I mean, really, it's a grassroots effort here in the Southeast. There's not a lot of a craft beer market here, but there are a lot of people that love craft beer, and we're just trying to spread the word. I mean, that's about it. Yeah,
are the other magazines? I think I can agree with you that you all complement each other, but I'm curious if it's a friendly business among the other magazines. I mean, in the beer radio world, mostly because I'm an asshole, it's not as friendly.
Big asshole.
I'm a big asshole. It's not as if they do well, if people are producing good radio and things like that, I think it's fantastic. And so I'm curious, is there any support from the other magazines, or do you all ignore each other?
I haven't really been in contact with the other guys, but Austin, I met him. He's the founder of Draft Magazine, and we got along really well. I mean, he's a fantastic guy, and I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but look forward to saying hello to him at the Great American Beer Festival. And I've met the Beer Advocate guys once, and everything was fine there. And I don't,
well, there's just
animosity towards us. I don't know about it, and I don't have any towards the other beer publications at all.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just think we're all in this thing for beer, and it's not my intention to compete. Like I said, we're just trying to do our own thing, and I encourage and support what they're doing, and they are all really touching on a good segment. So
I can start some animosity for you if you want. It's great advertising.
All those guys at Beer Magazine said you suck.
I'd like to pull a Kanye. Can we do that at the Great American Beer Festival?
Yeah, walk over to Magazine X's booth and just stand there with your magazine. That would be pulling a Kanye, I think. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be right next to you, so you'll have access to all of our equipment. Whatever you need. Take a banner over there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap one of you in a Brewing Network banner.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if you have this in Atlanta, but out here in Pacheco, we have these guys who stand on the corner with cardboard signs, and they wear headphones and they dance, pointing you to the sale or whatever.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah, apparently it works. They're everywhere. This might try that.
They're everywhere, and they're just as bad everywhere.
Okay. Now, I am curious about the beer scene there in Atlanta, because you mentioned, a lot of your distribution is going to start right there. How is the craft beer scene there, and how do you feel your audience is going to be?
Well, it's great. As Lynn said, the magazine does absolutely and will have a national focus, but since our roots are here in Atlanta, we're really concentrating on the South and trying to kind of tout the South's virtues as far as beer culture goes. The entire Southeast, but especially Atlanta itself, it's vastly underrated and overlooked. You guys probably know North Carolina is just really awash in good beer, pun intended. I mean, there's Asheville itself. Asheville, North Carolina has 7 breweries now.
Wow.
There are more breweries per capita in Asheville, North Carolina than there are in Portland, Oregon. There's Pisgah, Duck Rabbit, Highland Brewing Company, French Broad, just tons of great beer up there. In Louisiana, there's Abita, which you can get in 40 states around the country.
Good beer, too.
Great beer, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, here in Georgia, there's Sweetwater, which is just tremendous beer. Their IPA, is really known around these parts as one of the best in the country.
I think we've had it. Someone sent us some Sweetwater.
Yeah, it's well known. So yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at my producer because I thought maybe we'd spoke to him, but it was just that someone sent us the beer, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, nice beer from Sweetwater.
They do great stuff. There. And there's, Sweetwater is the second largest craft brewer in the South behind Abita. But it's interesting because Sweetwater is only sold in 6 states, whereas Abita goes out to, I think, nearly 40 states.
Okay.
So Sweetwater, in a lot of ways, really is kind of the craft beer of the Southeast, and they're just doing some amazing stuff.
Got it.
There's also Terrapin Brewing Company out of Athens.
That's what we've had on the show,
also,
Spike.
Yeah.
Terrapin is great.
Yeah.
Terrapin's great. There's Atlanta Brewing Company also here, which is the oldest in the state. They do some tremendous beers. But there's basically all around the Southeast you can find one kind of homegrown brewery. In Mississippi there's Lazy Magnolia, which makes a tremendous brown ale brewed with pecans.
Mm-hmm.
In Tennessee there's Yazoo Brewing Company, which is in a former automobile factory in downtown Nashville.
That's cool.
The South really has a lot more going on than people get it credit for. But that's one of the things that we hope to do is really bring that out in the open.
Well, and just bringing up GABF again, it's one of my favorite parts about the GABF. Nathan, you're going for your second, is it just your second time this year?
Second time, yeah, absolutely.
They have all those regions, and I always try to go over to the Midwest region and the South region and to have these beers you're talking about. Like I think I had Yazoo before at the GABF, and I never would have been able to without this festival.
I was going to ask these guys, there's pretty good representation from these breweries they just mentioned at the GABF, I would assume.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So what can we expect in this first issue? Are you going to be giving out the issue at the Great American Beer Festival?
Well, actually, it's coming out December 8th, so we'll be a little bit ahead of the publishing. But we're going to be talking a lot about it. We're going to be sending people to our website. A lot of the great writers that have been blogging on our website are going to be part of the first issue.
Good.
We're going to have some regular features. One of which we're going to call the Innovators series. It's going to start with kind of your local brewing bigwig, Fritz Maytag of Anchor Steam.
Great.
We're also gonna do a series each month. Each issue on international travel. That's going to start with a piece, of course, on Belgium. It's going to be written by Chuck Cook, who writes a lot for our website. He's been to Belgium 19 times. Is really known for his writing on the beer scene there.
Great.
And we're going to also do domestic travel. We're going to do brewery tours. We're going to hit Lagunitas, Victory, Abita in the first issue.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm actually doing a piece on beer and cheese pairing with some information from Max McCalman, who is really known as kind of the foremost expert on cheese in America. He's the
Sign me up.
curriculum at the Artisanal Premium Cheese Center in New York. He's a great person to kind of expose people to the marriage of beer and cheese.
That's all I needed to hear. Beer and cheese. Sign me up for 2. I'll take 2 subscriptions, 1 for each bathroom.
Yeah, he wasn't talking cheese on the radio. He was talking about cheese, the actual food.
Oh, forget it. I'm out. Well, put me down for 1 subscription then.
And also, who knew that there was an artisanal cheese center anywhere?
There should be. There should be them everywhere.
Yeah. But that's fascinating to me.
To me, the only thing that would make Pacheco, California, a better place on earth is if it had an artisanal cheese center.
If it had an artisanal anything. Well, we do have that artisanal meth distribution warehouse.
We do have that, but
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no one's going to write about that.
Yeah,
we should.
But we've got a lot of great stuff coming up for the first issue.
Yeah, don't forget about Asheville.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing a piece on the brewing scene in Asheville, written by Chris Miller himself.
A lot of research went into the Asheville article, 2 trips, and lots of beers.
Good.
My pregnant wife actually drove me up and DD'd me one weekend. That was pretty cool.
Good. I thought you meant she was helping you drink, and that's bad. People frown upon that.
No.
Come out like JP if you do that.
She actually loves beer, so it was really hard for her to drive me around all these awesome breweries in Asheville.
That's a nice woman right there.
Trashed.
That's a keeper. Yeah. All right. Anything else to speak of in this first issue so far? I think you're doing a great job. I like the ideas you've put forth already.
Well, definitely. We've got a lot of great stuff coming up. We're Stephen Beaumont is doing a piece on the kind of recent rise of the gastropub, kind of tracing its evolution from Britain to North America.
Yeah, great.
We're doing a piece on kind of beer laws. A lot of people outside the South probably don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of arcane laws all around the country, and from counties to cities to states and stuff. But here in the South, it's actually part of what's really sparked a real interest in craft brewing here in Georgia. Before 2004, you couldn't buy high gravity beers here. Then actually before earlier this year, you couldn't buy any beers above 6% in Alabama. There's something called the Free the Hops campaign over there that was really successful.
Yeah.
Getting good beer out there to the people that want it. There's a lot of kind of a lot that you have to deal with being a big beer fan here in the South. You can't buy anything in stores on Sundays in Georgia still. Like if we wanted to go to the store right now and pick up some beers, it cannot be done.
Yeah.
South Carolina is the same way. But there's a lot of movements, really kind of grassroots movements where people beer fans coming together to try and get some of these, prohibition laws off the books.
Well, I hope you are going to cover those things. Right now, the best coverage of some of the beer laws actually, I think, comes from Zymurgy magazine, which is a homebrewer-centric magazine, but they really cover this kind of stuff. And, I'd like to see somebody writing articles about the Free the Hops movements. And even if they're... even if it's already happened, just some education about, the reason that people are allowed to drink some beer now in Alabama that's better than it used to be.
Definitely. I mean, it's something that's been pretty interesting to see. I mean, here in Georgia, there's just been a real explosion of interest in craft beer after 2004. The one story we're going to do in the first issue is by Bob Townsend, who's a well-known beer writer. He writes a weekly column for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution here on beer, and has done that for about 10 years. But he's going to do a piece on the Brick Store Pub, which is, I don't know if you guys heard of it, but it's really known as one of the best beer bars in the world.
Okay.
We're not talking about the country, but the world. And it's in Decatur, which is a separate city technically, but it's really part of Metro Atlanta. And and after 2004, when the high gravity laws were wiped off, they started a Belgian beer bar upstairs where you can just get anything you could possibly want, and it's a great scene. I mean, you have to really see it to believe it. It's just a tremendous bar.
Okay.
There's a lot going on here in Atlanta and elsewhere around the South that you wouldn't really know about because we're kind of, like we said, like I said, underrated and overlooked. But yeah, so we're going to be national, but we're keeping an eye on our home and trying to get the word out. So
I do have a few questions from the chat for you also, and since you did mention covering nationally, we have a lot of Canadian listeners. So some people do want to know if there's going to be any international distribution.
absolutely. You can sign up online, beerconnoisseur.com, for an international subscription. It's a little bit more because of shipping. But we've already gotten several Canadian subscribers, and
cool.
I think the furthest subscription that we've gotten to date is we've gotten one from Brazil. So people can subscribe to the magazine. It's not going to be on the newsstand in Canada starting out, but that's the direction like I said, it's all going to depend on how popular we are and how fast we can get there. So
if we can pay the bills, right? That's what we're talking about.
I bet the BN could. I can almost guarantee that the BN can beat your farthest subscriber list after today's show. I bet you'll.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
Be careful. Not for us. I mean for you guys. I bet you that
we have a potential subscriber in Japan. I don't know. I'm working on that.
All right, well, I'll put out the call. We have listeners all over, so BNers, pay attention to this program. I would like to know if we can end up with if we can beat. I just want one subscriber to beat Brazil. But potential doesn't count. If it's only a potential one in Japan, if I get you a Japanese subscriber first, then I win.
Well, we would.
You do win. I know her name.
Oh.
Is it? I bet I know her. Is it Ray? It's Ray, isn't it?
Or Yuki. It's Yuki.
Right, Yuki.
Yuki's real nice.
I think for the purpose of my marriage, we should continue moving on. I'm kidding. I kid.
Clear out your Skype conversations, mister. Get you in trouble. All right, some more.
My email regularly.
Some more questions from the chat. Our listeners want to know if you're going to be covering anything homebrewing.
We're not going to really be a homebrewing magazine, so to speak.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep the focus a little bit kind of more broad, but
Sure.
Absolutely. I mean, homebrewing is it's part of who we are, and it's it's definitely going to be a part of the magazine. You're not going to see many technical homebrewing pieces, but it's part of the beer culture, and it's going to be part of Beer Connoisseur, definitely.
How many in the room there are homebrewers or have been homebrewers?
2 out of 4, I believe, are home.
2 out of 4 are homebrewers.
That's pretty good.
And we're going to actually host a homebrewing session because, kind of like Sam Adams, I think everybody with the magazine needs to be familiar with how brewing happens.
Yeah.
And so we're actually going to educate and get everyone started on homebrewing. And we are going to do an internet article on getting some of these guys their first brewing session and what that's like, and we're going to actually try to get a couple subscribers here from Atlanta to join in on that.
Beautiful.
So
all right. Another question.
Like the general consumer out there that doesn't homebrew isn't going to find the technical aspects of homebrewing interesting.
I agree with you.
But what they would find interesting is what inspires someone to homebrew, and just that experience. So if we're writing something in the magazine about homebrewing, it's going to be about all of the what's fun about it, what got them started, what they get out of home brewing, and just sharing that experience. And
that's
then
a good angle.
The more technical stuff would probably be saved more as we develop our website. So,
right. I think that
it's not a home brewing magazine; it's a consumer magazine. And that's the difference there in the magazine part of it. So we're new, and there's a lot that we want to do with our website as well. And as our capacity increases, then the home brewing part of it's going to increase as well.
Okay. Well, that's a good answer. I like to see that.
That is a good answer.
I think that same reader would also be interested in a profile of a certain beer radio host who's not only photogenic but has a fantastic voice.
Oh, you think I have a fantastic voice?
Yeah.
That's weird. I appreciate that, Justin.
Maybe.
I don't do articles.
Do you know somebody?
Yeah, I'll see if I can.
What's the website?
Does he work pro bono?
See if I can.
They're in Australia, so
right. One more question from the chat, actually, is will you guys be at the Atlanta Cask Ale Fest?
We are not currently scheduled to be there, no. And the reason is just we have limited resources right now. If we had a large number of people working for us, then we would, but we kind of have to pick and choose at this point. And I mean, that's obviously our goal, is to have our hands and be involved with as many of the events going on. But I sadly have to say that no, we're not going to. We'll
be there. Beer Connoisseur probably won't be there as an entity, but
you'll be there as consumers.
We're not going to miss something like that. We've got a lot of stuff going on here. We're doing a beer dinner at at one of the Ritz-Carltons here. We're going to GABF next week, of course. Like we said, we're going to see you guys there. And
great.
But yeah. As far as the Cask Ale Festival goes, we're probably going to have to be there, drinking good beer and
passing out business cards.
Right.
There you go.
Right. Have one of our riders there, but as a company, we're not going to unfortunately be there.
Okay. Well, I understand you do have to stretch out your dollars when it comes to festivals. We get invited to a lot of things we can't make.
We're 2.5 months old. So, if you really think about it, the website's been up for 2.5 months, and we're busy trying to get our first issue out, and we're trying to, like I said, being involved as much as we can, but without, full-time, staff and so forth. So, when it comes to us, not having that presence at some of these events, it's all just a matter of limited resources and not desire.
Yeah, we understand entirely. All right, guys. Well, I'm running out of time, but I'm happy to talk to you and meet you guys. I'll be looking forward to seeing you at the festival.
Yeah, likewise.
And
thanks a lot.
I can't wait to see this first issue. I'm a skeptic when it comes to people coming in here into with new magazines and new radio shows, but like I said, that's because I'm an asshole. Everything you've told me today sounds great. I like the features you've been talking about, the recurring ones. I like the names you've mentioned of writers, all excellent writers. Steve Beaumont's fantastic.
Right.
And I know you're going to do some work with Carol. I always mess up her last name, but Smigalski, and she's wonderful too. Yes, and she's really just not only a nice woman, but a great writer. So, I wish you guys luck. I look forward to seeing this thing.
Well, we appreciate you having us on, and definitely looking forward to meeting you next week. And thanks for everything.
All right,
thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks. Listeners, like I said, beerconnoisseur.com. Go check it out. Get a preview. Magazine comes out in December, and you can sign up right there online. Thanks again, guys.
All right. See you in a week. Take care.
All right. Take care. All right, good guys. They sound like fun, especially that Chris guy, the drinker in the group. You gotta love him, right? Out there taking.
He's going for it.
He's ready to go, and you need that guy. I'm telling you, you need that guy.
He's gonna motivate everyone else or demotivate them, depending on the situation, I guess.
It keeps you. You can do serious beer coverage without being stuffy when you got a guy like Chris around building mash tun soapboxes and taking photos of himself drinking every day. That's the key to success, folks.
That's it.
You can still be serious if you've got the lighthearted side. That's why we keep Chad around.
The only reason.
For why again?
The only reason. Hey, Chris did send me a subscription promotion code for the BN. So if you guys go and sign up, type in FBC-BN Army.
There you go.
That's a promotion code for them to track.
Beautiful. How much of that do we get?
All of it.
Wow. What a great... I love this magazine. Beer Connoisseur is the best magazine ever to hit the stands, ladies and gentlemen. I've not even read it, and I know this. All right, give the code once more, just so people can...
It's FBC-BN Army.
All right, beautiful. We'll see them at the GABF, and I guess they're housed right next to us in our booth, so
right.
Listeners, you guys will be able to find them real quick. All right, we're going to take ourselves just a real quick break. When we come back, we'll get into some homebrewing topics.
Oh, beer information on the show?
Beer information.
I don't know if I believe it.
I better go learn how to brew.
The great Nathan Smith hanging out. It's dry hopping when we come back. Join JP in the chat room to get your questions asked.
Yes.
See you in a minute.
You're listening to the Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
BN Army members, are you looking for a discount on hops? Keep listening. Nico's Homebrew Supply at nicobrew.com has hops by the ounce and by the pound. Choose from varieties like Amarillo, Centennial, East Kent Goldings, Hallertauer, Simcoe, Summit, Tomahawk, Warrior, Willamette, and more. And adding new varieties all the time, many for less than $20 a pound. Whether a couple ounces at a time or an 11-pound bag, all hops are shipped vacuum sealed and frozen straight to you. Nico's Homebrew Supply offers store-wide $5 flat rate shipping and won't waste your money on unnecessary overhead or advertising. They're going bare bones and passing the savings on to you. The staff at Nico's Homebrew Supply loves to brew and is committed to keeping homebrewing affordable and accessible to anyone who wants to join in this great hobby. And for a limited time, use coupon code BNARMY at checkout for a Brewing Network discount. Visit nicobrew.com. That's Niko brew.com for your hops and more. nicobrew.com, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Nico, listen, our lawyers said that we had to do this for 1 hour, and after this, we don't have to talk to each other for 3 more months to the next meeting.
Kids, come on, let's get out of here.
I'm supposed to have more lines. I'm the professional. Hey, it's Sully.
And I'm Nico.
And we opened the 21st Amendment 9 years ago at 563 2nd Street in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park, to make great beer and have a great time doing it.
That's right, because to us, the 21st Amendment is more than just the right to make beer. It's the right to experiment, to be innovative, and just do things differently. And so now, we're putting our craft beer in cans.
That's right, cans. You can find our world-famous Hell or High Watermelon Wheat Beer and Brew Free or Die IPA throughout California and Alaska.
And now it's also available on draft at select accounts in the Bay Area.
So next time you're at your local neighborhood pub or good beer store, be sure to ask for 21st Amendment in cans.
Because everyone likes it in a can.
Tasty crack cans.
Tasty crack cans.
Organic ingredients. Fresh, clean, good for you, good for the planet. And Seven Bridges has the best selection in the world. Everything is a click away at breworganic.com. Join the mailing list for special deals and regular updates about new products and specials. They have been brewing organic and serving organic brewers for almost 12 years. They can help you brew great organic beer. Take the National Organic Brewing Challenge, the only BJCP-sanctioned nationwide brewing competition just for organic beers. Enter the competition by October 10th for your chance to win great prizes, including a hands-on brewing experience at an organic brewery, brewing equipment, or organic brewing ingredients. Complete details about the competition are online at breworganic.com/competition. Seven Bridges is cooperatively owned in awesome Santa Cruz, California. Everyone there is dedicated to worker and people-friendly business practices and environmentally friendly, worker-friendly brewing products whenever possible. Visit today, breworganic.com.
Hero, what's it feel like?
Take awesome and multiply it by 2.
Yeah!
Spraying live beer radio all over your face.
Can't get any better than this, baby.
It's the Brewing Network.
The Brewing Network. Saving your life. One beer at a time.
The Blues can't suck it because the Sharks are better than the Blues.
Nobody cares.
That's Cop Brewer and I have a conversation going. Thank
Keep
you
it
very
between
much.
the two of you.
No, he's a cop.
Cop? Really?
Yeah.
And
he brews.
What the hell does that have to do with
law
anything?
enforcement officer?
Yeah. He's a police officer.
Wow.
All right.
So, there.
Okay. All right, JP. All right. Didn't realize you were so defensive about law enforcement.
I like law enforcement. It's the only thing that saves me from destroying you.
Is that right?
I don't know what that means.
This is how you chat when you're in a
I'm taking that literally.
Yeah. Mike's like, okay, I'm going to go now.
Breathalyze yourself regularly. Do a field sobriety test just for fun.
Boy.
It's a good thing these chairs are on wheels. I can scoot out of here.
All right, we're on the show here with Nathan Smith, who's just poured us... Did you just pour us beer out of a 40?
Is that what I poured beer out of a 40.
You did? I thought so.
It's a plastic 40. Actually, this is a Harvest Ale wet hop beer that I pulled out of the fermenter just today and did the carbonation cap thing.
What are those things called? Those are they just called carbonation caps?
I think they're called carbonation cap. Yeah.
Carbonator.
You know, JP?
They don't have a brand name?
They're called, they're from Liquid Bread.
Hold it up just to the camera a little bit if you can. Justin.tv/Brewing Network, and they're pretty cheap. A lot of you guys use them. Doc, by you guys, I mean Doc and Tasty. I've seen Jamil use them so that you can. What do you just put it on any kind of plastic bottle, and then you can do a quick shake carbonation?
This is just a plastic water bottle, and put it on, do a quick carbonation, 10 to 15 psi, shake it up. It's good for an event like this. Or I haven't completely finished the beer yet. I don't even have it in kegs, but I could pour a little bit out of my fine More Beer fermenter. And then,
It's weird how that happens.
And then carbonate it up with this, and it's a little more portable than if I'd tried to put it in bottles or something like that. It wouldn't have had any CO2, so it allows you to put a little CO2.
It's good.
So what have you poured us here to kick off our dry hopping discussion on today's show?
Off our dry hopping discussion, I've poured a wet hop beer that I made from homegrown hops right from the front and backyard of my house. 8 pounds of hops, about 7.5 to 8 pounds of hops went in the kettle during boil, and another pound as a dry hop week into fermentation, and then another 8 ounces about 2 weeks in. So it's kind of interesting to get this profile of what hops taste like when you grow them at home, totally undried, totally unkilned, very different than anything you'd get commercially. It's a lot of Columbus, Centennial, and Cascade, and Nugget, and a little bit of Chinook. The Cascade in this particular example, I think, comes across quite big. There's a big grapefruit quality to this. I think for a person growing hops at home, that's a really hardy variety and really easy one to work with. So I think that's one reason why this comes through really directly in the wet hop beer.
Okay.
There was a lot of Cascade flowers, and those flowers tended to be some of the most aromatic and most interesting. It's got a little bit of that green vegetative character that you might expect from a wet hop beer, but
not much. Yeah.
I had a lot of hops this year. It was one of the best crops I'd had from a homegrown hop growing operation, and decided to bump up the gravity. Normally I make this beer, it's about 6 to 6.5% alcohol. I made it about 8% alcohol. It's about 8.2% alcohol this time, so it's a little more like a double IPA version of wet hop beer. So cool. It's a lot of fun making this. Tastes pretty good so far.
It is the best homegrown hop beer I've ever had in my life.
Wonderful, thank you.
It's really well
awesome.
done. Yeah.
I'm really happy with it so far. So
glass of hops. I mean, it's got that going for it.
Definitely.
But it's not overly bitter. It's not too green and vegetably. Like is not only a characteristic, I think, of homegrown hops sometimes, but certainly of wet hop beers.
Right.
But it doesn't have too much of that. It's there, like you mentioned it.
Some of them get like a oregano or mint-like or tomato or basil. Like, you get some of that kind of herbal quality, which a little bit of it is nice for complexity, but you have a lot of that, and it makes the beer a little tough to drink.
And even the grapefruit quality that you're talking about with the Cascade hops,
correct,
isn't a bitter, like a too bitter of a grapefruit flavor.
Exactly. It's like fresh grapefruit is kind of how it comes across in the wet hop beers versus straight Sierra Nevada style grapefruit taste you might get in their pale ale or something like that. Pretty cool.
Chad, you're now the official hop head in the house. Am I crazy about this beer?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
I think Vinny had talked about this on the Brewing Network. I think his third show back in early 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that idea, and I'd been growing hops already, but didn't really know. I tried to dry them and tried using them in that way, but it never really worked as well as just what he had suggested on that show, which is just take them, use them all in one big wet hop beer and kind of enjoy it in that context. And I think for a lot of homegrown hop people, I think that works best than trying to dry them or save them. I mean, you can do it, but you never really know where the alpha is, and drying them is the moisture content's hard to get rid of properly, and you don't get good storage, so
just do a wet hop beer.
Just do wet hop beer. It's one way to have a lot of fun with it, I think.
I'm always annoyed by wet hop beers. I'm not going to lie. Like, just the flavor and everything.
I agree.
Okay, it's great for what it is, but whatever. It's just whatever. I'll drink it. But this one, the flavor, just it all in itself is something else I've never experienced.
It's not too green.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about waiting for the hops. And I mean, as the homegrown hop guy, you can kind of wait for this precise moment when they smell really good. And you can break the hop open a little bit and look at the yellow lupulin that you'll find in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Rub that between your fingers. Really smell it.
Yeah.
Does it smell good, or does it smell too green still? If it smells too green, it's too green. It's not ready. You can wait another week or two.
Got it.
Unlike the commercial growers, you're not on a schedule. Who cares? You may as well wait another week or two until they're prime and ready for you to use them in your kettle or in your dry hop. So
See, I'm really with Chad on that one, where I enjoy tasting wet hop beers because they're unique and because you can, get some real characteristics of different hops. So I like to be able to pick out the flavors, but I don't like drinking them. I like tasting them. But in general, it's tough to make a good one.
People like the concept of them, but a lot of times the execution of it isn't quite so well done. There's an interesting festival in Northern California at the Bistro every early October. This year it's October 3rd, I believe, or 4th. It's the first Saturday in October. And they're going to have a wet hop fest where they gather all the wet hop beers made by breweries in Northern California, or, I think they go beyond that, maybe a little Southern Oregon. But kind of cool to have them all back to back. But I do agree with you in some sense that a lot of them are, a little vegetal, not so well rounded, a little tough to drink. And I've had that discussion with Mike McDowell many times where, like the concept, like the idea of wet hop beers, but some of them are a little tough to drink, maybe a full pint of. But.
Well, great for a festival like that then, actually, too. See, I did go to that, and I like that because you're getting your 4-ounce pour, and that's fine. Then you can
Sometimes
taste
that's
it.
too much.
You can it can be. Yeah, we dump some of them, of course. But at least then if you're just looking for the characteristics of these beers. And this isn't to say that people don't do good ones either. Brian Hunt does a nice one.
I was just about to mention him. Yeah, I think he's one of the
Moonlight.
He's one of the most experienced and really has a real good pulse on the style and making it really jump out of the glass and taste great.
Yeah.
That one's a good one to look for. I know he does send that out of not just that festival, but he does send it out to some of his more esoteric or specialty accounts around the Bay Area. You will find it on Draft, and it's an excellent one to start with if you've never tried one before.
Yeah.
One question I get a lot on this when I just run into people in bars or in email, I get questions sometimes about wet hop beers and the ratios and how you do it and that kind of thing. One thing to keep in mind is make sure you do a 4-to-1 ratio of what you would for normal hops. You're going to get undried hops. Basically, if you use 1 pound, I think just divide by 4, and that would be where you would be at normally for the amount of dried hops that you'd be putting in the kettle. So keep that in mind when you're using wet hops for this sort of a style of a beer. And if you really want to calculate the alpha acid, you can take an average of what the hops have been recently in the past few years, look at your Cascade, and make it on the lower end because you're probably not growing them as efficiently as you would on the commercial scale. So kind of take the lower alpha acid end of it. But once again, I recommend just using them in the 15 minutes or later stage in the boil process where you're not extracting all that much bitterness and you're getting mostly flavor. And you don't have to worry about a lot of the calculations too much. I think homebrewers worry about the calculations of a wet hop beer too much. It's just sort of the fun of it is you should wait till the hops are good and ready and then use as many of them as you can in the kettle. If you go to destroy.net, you can see pictures. I have linked off the homepage, Wet Hops Brew Day 2009, and there's a picture in there of me like seconds before boil over, just trying to shove all these hops in the kettle, and you can see what it kind of looks like trying to fit 8 pounds of hops in a 10-gallon batch. It did boil over a little bit, but not too much, and you can definitely go overboard with this style and have a lot of fun with it, and the beer will turn out pretty good more often than not if your hops are good to begin with. So,
what are you going to do with your hops, Chad? Did you pick them?
I did. Yeah. I do have them in a bag in the freezer.
Okay.
I didn't dry them or anything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try and use them probably as a dry hop or something. I don't have enough nearly as as much as Nate does. I'm looking at these pictures. Holy shit.
It's got a lot of.
But
I sent those to you.
It's a bunch of work to pick all those hops too. You got to plan it out in advance for people that if you've grown a bunch of it, make sure you're realistic about how much.
Don't
time.
you live in Oakland?
I do live in Oakland.
How can you grow a bunch of hops in Oakland?
No, it just fits right in with all that other dank stuff that people tend to be growing around me. I know they just don't notice. No, but
that's a good point.
It's actually kind of tough to grow them in Oakland because it's not as hot and dry as you'd normally want for hop growing. So I kind of have to trim the foliage back a bit near the ground and coddle them along to make them successful, but it will work, and just kind of goes to show you can grow some pretty resilient hop varieties in areas where it's not necessarily ideal. Cascade in particular does really well where I'm growing them. Chinook does really well. Nugget struggles a little bit more, but still does really well. And Centennial does about moderate to well. So
I can't imagine Nathan. Pale white Nathan out in the garden,
right?
Pruning.
Yeah, where do you put your...
No, I do get sunburned, JP. That is a good point. I have to wear hats and stuff that I normally don't wear.
You have to wear hats.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're well conditioned in that context. But yeah,
say that's racialist.
I suffer a little bit
Where do you bury your dead bodies in that backyard? It looks like it's all taken up with hops and a little sidewalk.
You ever heard of bone meal?
Yeah, exactly. Why do you think I get so many flowers? It's like the special ingredient there.
And anybody notice that Nathan, like me, likes to use a wooden mash paddle? Not that faggy new age one that Chad likes to use.
No plastic, nothing like that.
Stainless steel.
Yeah.
Oh, his super paddle.
Super paddle. That sounds like a porn.
Super paddle.
So, how did they feel when you picked these hops? I mean, was it you look at it or you crack it open and smell it?
You crack it open and smell it. Okay. And you can see the lupulin inside the hop is this yellow powdery-like substance.
Was it a little papery to touch at all, or was it all squishy?
Yeah, they get a little papery when they're ready. In my experience, and then one of the things I've read, which does hold true most of the time, is you can take a petal off of the flower, hold it up to the sunlight, and it should be fairly translucent at that point. And then you know your hops are ready. But you'll kind of know by more accurately get some of that lupulin in your fingers and open up the lupulin glands by creating friction. Just rub it a little bit, and then you can smell. Does it smell right? Does it smell fresh? Everyone knows what good fresh hops should smell like. And
versus
if it's
green.
Versus actually, you'll get more of a chlorophyll vegetative thing if it's not quite ready, and the flowers haven't matured enough. Then just to leave them alone for a few more weeks, and you'll get more of what you want out of them.
It was interesting. We had a guy from Sierra talk to us up at the North Cal Homebrewers Fest.
Right.
And he was talking about how they started growing, their own hops in their own fields in Chico. And when they planted them, they spaced them out a little too far. So what happened was, you had the heat beating on them all day, but then you get that wind that came through and would dry them out. So they really had a tough time at first. I think it's kind of what happens to us back here, is we're just exposed to the sun all day. And that wind kicks up.
It whips them around a little too much.
So, yeah, exactly. So, I think I might have to play with our spacing and maybe, bunch them together a little better just to get a little more coverage.
That's a good point.
But that's pretty interesting. You mentioned that. I go, huh.
Yeah.
I think that's happening.
They've actually done a really interesting experiment this year. You folks have you seen in some of the bars or in liquor stores, they did a estate harvest ale where they grew malt and hops.
Yeah.
For the first time. And
that was good.
I had that the other day. It was a really, really nice beer. A little bit more roasty, brown ale-y than just a straight IPA. I thought that was a cool take on the wet hop thing. So,
we're going to have Steve Dressler from Sierra Nevada on one of our panels at the GABF. It's our What's Next in Brewing panel. So we got a lot of people talking about different things, not that you've been drinking necessarily this year, but what you might be drinking next year when GABF comes around. And Steve's going to be on there talking about new hops and new processes and all the stuff you're mentioning right here.
Very cool.
They're doing a bunch of stuff. And the guy was even apologizing. Hey, I'm sorry, we got a little complacent with the pale ale, the porter, stout.
Wow.
But we're really doing some cool stuff. I just want you guys to know.
Playing a little catch up.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've been spending, if I were them, I think they've been spending so much time on the brewery and making that sustainable and all the different things they did there.
Right.
They maybe just didn't have time to experiment with new beers. So.
But that Keller Weiss is going crazy.
Right.
So they're pretty excited about some new beers.
For a huge brewery, I'm pretty impressed consistently with the experimental things they do and how cool they are. I had a triple the other day that they had made at Barclays in Oakland, and it was a really nice Belgian style beer.
That torpedo
had some nice complexity to it. It's pretty cool. So they're definitely branching out a little bit and sending that stuff out of just the brew pub and not just having it there, which is really cool.
Nothing wienery about those beers.
No,
very good.
No, quite nice.
All right,
That's
Nathan, why don't you get us started on some dry hopping basics? I know you're going to use the questions that have come to you over the last year about dry hopping. So however you want to take it is fine. You don't have to dumb it down to what is dry hopping if you don't want to.
Right.
If you just want to start answering questions, that's all right.
Sure. So to kind of lead into this a thought for the concept on this show, over the last year since the double IPA show had done about a little over a year ago, and then the Green Flash IPA show on Can You Brew It, I've gotten a lot of email questions from the listeners about dry hopping. And I wanted to sort of take a step back and cover a little bit of the basics, but go a little more in depth than we were able to go on the double IPA show, just in terms of time, quantity, temperature, strain selection, and then get into a little bit of the hop chemistry that backs that sort of thing up. So unlike the Imperial IPA content I'd covered in the past, this will also apply to those beers, of course, but any American ales, pale ale, brown ale, IPA, American stout, all those would apply a little bit more to the stuff that we're going to talk about today and not just IPAs. And we're talking mainly about American citrus hops is what we're going to focus on. You could apply some of this stuff to dry hopping other esoteric styles that do get a dry hop. But that's really the main focus of what we're going to do. So here's an example email I just got last Wednesday from a listener, Greg McQuay. He wrote an email and said, thanks for sharing a recipe and experience with the Brewing Network Army. I'm attempting to follow your direction. I have a couple of questions. I'm on day 3 of dry hopping. On day 1, I dropped my fermentation temperature to 63, and I had the pellet hop addition to the primary. Your note said didn't transfer, and gave it a quick swirl and let it be. Does this sound right so far? And then he says 3 days into dry hopping at 63 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm still seeing some fermentation activity. Is this okay? And is this usually complete by the time you dry hop, or do you still see activity? And then he goes on to say, by agitation every other day, do you mean swirling the carboy a couple times, or really getting it into a vigorous, picking up and really shaking it around? So I thought that was a really interesting starting point for some of the confusion points. Everyone knows what kind of the basics of what dry hopping is, but Greg's question about temperature and about agitation and about the fermentation activity, I thought were pretty key, really key questions into making a really good dry hopped beer. So to kind of cover the first aspect of it, do you want to wait for all fermentation activity to stop before you start dry hopping? Tasty, for example, I've discussed this with him a couple of times. I just woke him up.
You just blew the dust off that dude.
Yes.
And I used to wait until all fermentation activity was complete and do what kind of the pro brewers do and drop the temperature and take the yeast off and then dry hop. I had some good experiences with it, and then some sort of not so great experiences where I think I kind of oxidized the beer by doing that. And the more I thought about it, why do pro brewers do this? Well, they do it to kind of speed up the process to one degree, and so they don't have to use as much raw ingredient, as much hop. That's a little less of a concern for home brewers. I mean, you can definitely do that, and if you do it well, it's probably not going to create anything bad. But on the homebrew sense, you can waste a little more dry hop, you can waste a little more ingredient, and if you can use some of that fermentation activity to help you scrub out some of the oxygen, I think that will help you make a better, cleaner beer. So after discussions with Tasty, I sort of bumped that back, and I'll now dry hop at about 5 to 6 days after pitching the yeast. And I think that a little bit of fermentation activity that you still have at that point, I'm talking California ale yeast here mainly, just as a reference, but that will help scrub out any oxygen that you might add during the dry hop process, because you'll always get a little bit of oxygen added by doing that. And some of it's going to be insignificant, but a really aggressively hopped beer might get a multiple dry hops. And so if you're doing one where the yeast is still active, that's going to help you way later down the line if you have to do more dry hopping just by limiting that oxygen exposure. You think that you found that to be true in your experience, Tasty?
Well, I could be picking up oxygen other places, but yeah, I that's one place I think I can get it. Something about, I'm opening up the fermenter to in some way to add it in. Usually I put them in through the small, hole that I've got my stopper with, from my airlock.
Right.
So I use a funnel and put them in that way. So it's pretty minimal, and I like the idea that headspace, when I start, is full of CO2, and then when I'm done, I know that because I have some fermentation, it's going to replace that with CO2.
Right.
Because I got another, after 6 days, I've got another, 7 days. I want that beer to be, in that fermenter and, cleaning itself up.
Right.
I don't want it to be worrying about the oxygen that I introduced, 7 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, it's a recipe issue at some point, too. If you feel like you're not getting enough hops, and you can always add a little bit more based on what you may have done in the past.
Right. And I think there's some flavor aspect of just the yeast eating the hops that you've added, just the part that they're going through their system, and they're metabolizing them, and they're putting out something that's obviously different than the hop oil that you're extracting when there's no fermentation going place.
Right. And Jamil said this a few times, but I think it's worth repeating that the hop oils will cover the yeast cell a bit, and the hop oils that you're adding in are going to be, when you take the yeast out later, you're going to lose a little bit of that. So if it seems like you may be going over the top to get the hop flavor and aroma that you want during a dry hop, if the yeast are still there, that's okay to some degree, because you know that the yeast are going to consume or be coated by some of that hop oil as you're adding the dry hop, and some of that will dissipate a little bit later if you filter or as the yeast start to drop out.
I guess what people think about, the worry about adding these hops before fermentation is done. I mean, you're talking about scrubbing out the O2, but everybody's worried about scrubbing out exactly what you're trying to put in as well, right? So that's
a good point.
Is
Justin.
It a trade-off, or does it not happen?
It is a trade-off, and I think the part of the solution is to do a big dry hop, or at least half of what you would normally do is a dry hop about a week in, and then do another dry hop later. when the fermentation has died off, so that you'll be able to round out some of that aromatic and hop flavor by adding more fresh hops at a little bit later stage, either in the keg or still in the fermenter.
Okay.
One of those two. I've been a big fan of adding at least a little bit in the keg if I'm doing something really aggressive, hoppy style. There's a item that Northern Brewer sells called a Sure Screen. They don't make it. It's actually a different vendor. It's some folks called Sheaf and Vine Brewing Supply, the brewinfo.org, and they sell a stainless steel screen that fits on the end of the dip tube for a keg. Mm-hmm. It works really well at filtering either whole hop or pellet hop. Works great for whole hop in particular. But
You've used it?
I have used it. Yeah, I use it pretty consistently on aggressive hoppy beers. So you can dry hop in the keg, and you know that the dip tube won't get clogged with hop matter.
But so I can see how it would work as a filter, but then the end of the tube itself doesn't get clogged. It doesn't fill up with matter, and
that's right.
You haven't had trouble with that.
Nope.
Like the screen itself blocking, then.
Nope,
okay.
Not at all. It works really well. It's kind of cool if you want to experiment with dry hopping in the keg, and I highly recommend doing so.
Yeah,
it's a cool way to do it.
Okay,
really cool way to do it.
So, just to kind of recap what you just said about dry hopping a couple times.
Yes.
So you're talking about 100% of your dry hop. Maybe 40% is in that first week, then the 60%. The rest
either half and half. I usually just keep it kind of simple, unless you're trying to go for something a little more specific that you've tested previously. But yeah.
But let's say you're doing 2 ounces total for 5 gallons, or whatever it is. You're not doing 2 ounces first week and then 2 ounces again.
No, it would be obviously 1 and 1 for that kind of a thing. Yeah. And about 7 days maximum in each case. Kind of interesting to compare and contrast what the pro brewers do in that sense, where Firestone will do a really short dry hop, 3 to 5 days maximum, I think, whereas someone like Russian River, also known for hoppy beers, obviously is going to do a 5 to 7 day minimum. I think that actually closer to mimics what would work well on the homebrew scale. They're a little bit smaller brewery, and they're a little bit closer to what us amateurs are doing. Firestone's so huge, and they may have some techniques that don't quite translate, but it's interesting to play around with that time, either shorter or longer, depending on your process. And the only way to find out is to really experiment. In my case, it's about 7 days for the first dry hop, and then I don't remove the dry hop. I'll leave it there and then add another one. And so 14-day dry hop total for the very first one added, and then 7 days total for the second one that was added.
Okay.
It seems to work best. So it's a good starting point for people who want to play around with that.
Is there a cutoff? I mean, you're saying 14 days is...
That's a good point. Yeah, you'll start to get some vegetative flavors, I think, if you leave it a little bit too long.
Okay.
So it's probably good to move it out after about 2 weeks total of the beer sitting on the dry hop. And I should also mention, this was mentioned on previous shows, but it bears repeating that dry hopping should be done warm at about 60 to 68. You're going to get the best dissolution of hop oils into solution. And that's key to what dry hopping really is you want to get the oils from the hops into solution. That's going to happen better between 60 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit versus trying to do it in the 30s and 40s.
Okay.
You're not going to have as much dissolution of the oils, and it's not going to taste quite or smell quite right. No.
So, tasting myself, we pretty much will go, 68 and then ramp up. A lot of people do this. I just happen to mention this. But, at 68, and you always finish up, diacetyl rest or 70, 71, maybe 72 degrees. Do you bump the temperature down to within that 60 to 68 degree range before you dry hop, or do you leave it up?
I used to crash it at 50 and pull the yeast off. California ale yeast will drop out quite nice at about 50 degrees. Used to pull the yeast off and then add the dry hop. Don't do that anymore. We'll dry hop at 68 degrees. I actually like to go a little bit lower with that yeast and ferment it pitch it about 63 and then ferment it about 65. Then I'm dry hopping at 65. But I don't... I'm a big proponent of not using hop bags or anything to sort of restrict the hops from really getting fully immersed into solution.
Okay.
And one way to kind of help with that towards the end of the dry hop, I'm talking about 14 days in total, is that you can start crashing the temperature out, and it will actually help pull the hops down to the bottom of solution, which I think helps get the hops more fully dissolved towards the end. Noticing that again with this wet hop beer that we're tasting. I had a pound and a half basically of undried hops to the beer and the 2 dry hops that I had done, and I crashed it to 50 where it's sitting right now. If I opened up the conical and kind of looked in there for a second, and there weren't any hops remaining at the top of solution. The cooler temperature had dragged them all down towards the bottom. It sort of helps things drop out and fall to the bottom.
Well, any CO2 activity would have stopped with that too. So
that's true.
That's a good point.
That's why they're floating, is they've got CO2 in it on the bottom side.
So the lower temperature helps dissolve the CO2 into solution and helps pull everything down. Yeah, that's another good reason why. Very good point.
I have another listener question before we get too far away from the CO2 topic, too. This Skipper in the chat room is curious about using a closed transfer onto so that you're actually racking onto a purged keg with hops in it.
Right.
Which I
think
thought
a great
was
idea.
I thought.
I think it's a fantastic idea, and I've played around with it a little bit, and I want to play around with it some more just for fun. But it's basically, think about that. So you have a keg full of beer, another keg with like a sure screen or something that's going to stop the hop matter from getting into the dip tube, and it's full of hops. And you could transfer your keg of beer into the keg with a bunch of dry hop in it. It's almost like a giant Randall at that point.
Right.
And then you could, transfer off that when too many days have gone by, or even serve the beer from that if you like the flavor that's coming off of it.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect way to do it because you're limiting any O2 that you're going to get at that point.
Yeah, I guess my question from that then is, because it sounds like a good idea, so I wanted to ask you, when you talk about introducing hops as a dry hop and then introducing oxygen,
right,
and the ability to purge it if you do it while fermentation is still happening, is all the oxygen coming in, just by the act of adding the hops, or
Correct.
are you so it's not that these hops have this storage of oxygen in them?
Sure, it's in there.
It's in there
There's some
too,
in there
right?
too.
Okay.
Yeah, but most of it I think is coming from you physically opening the thing
action,
up.
yeah.
You're losing the CO2 and you're adding something into solution which is gonna oxidize it one way or another. But yeah, I think you're right, Mike. Tasty, you could get a little bit of O2 from the oxidized whole hops or
jerk.
Either way,
whole hops would probably seem like they would probably oxidize the beer a little faster
Sure,
than
there's
pellet
more
hops
air
would.
pockets. Yeah,
there's more air pockets going on.
Now you could do, kind of like the Lagunitas guys do, which they basically flush the hops with CO2 before they shoot them into the to the
that's
fermenter
true.
with their hop cannon.
That's right.
We could probably do something very similar with a little bit of flushing, at least to get some of it out of there. And I think that would make a big difference. And people might consider doing that.
I think one of your risks at that point is almost overdoing it if you really like the dry hop profile that you're getting from fermentation, and then you're going to dry hop again with the keg-to-keg mechanism. I did a little bit of that. I didn't actually remove the hops, but added them about a week before the NHC this year, and the IPA that I had on the floor during club night. It was good, but I think it started to take on a little bit of an over dry hop character, which always comes across as metallic to me.
Yeah, it was total shit, Nathan. I've been wanting to talk to you about that beer.
Well, what do you expect when you drink beer off the floor? That's fucking retarded.
Yeah.
I think some of the listeners may have tasted that one, so I may give you a reference for that if people remember it. But I had another keg that was served at the hospitality suite with you guys for Brewing Network, which I didn't do that dry hop technique to, and I think was actually better. So I guess the moral of the story is you can't take it too far.
Okay.
You get some harsh vegetative flavors. If you're happy with what's there, it's a slippery slope sometimes to try and accentuate it a bit too much above and beyond that with any kind of serving or post-process dry hopping once you're done with fermentation and packaging.
Okay. So. You want to try to tackle another question before we go to break?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do that. That's it from the chat. I've got one more. Another one of your questions from emails.
Oh, no, that was the... I didn't bring another example, but that sort of captures the idea of what the listeners have been asking me over the last year, and we've hit on most of the points that I'd want to highlight from that.
Then I do have another listener one then, too.
Perfect.
I just wanted to interweave both. But so here's a question from the chat that from STEM. He says, I dry hop a lot, but I find that the hop flavor and aroma actually drops out pretty quickly.
Yes.
2 to 3 weeks in the keg, and he's lost a lot of his dry.
That's absolutely true. There's almost no way to preserve that. I found that some varieties will stay longer than others, and depending on obviously the recipe and your personal preference. Opened up an IPA a double IPA that I made in May recently, just last week. Noticed that the Summit and Columbus qualities of the dry hop were still there. But there was also Simcoe and Centennial in the dry hop, and those had pretty much dissipated entirely. So you can select for that a little bit with the hops that you choose.
Yeah.
But in general, you're going to lose most of the really interesting aroma and flavor contribution from any dry hop within 3 to 4 weeks, I think.
My favorite part about Russian River's Pliny the Elder packaging is the giant wording on the case that says, do not save this beer.
No, it
Drink
really
it now. And so, Chad, I hope that you will stop bitching at me for drinking all your dry hopped beer and trying to save it. I'm really just trying to help you. I'm trying to do the right thing
for the beer's sake,
and get it done within 2 to 3 weeks, because then it's going to turn to shit.
It's going to be no good anymore.
Pick it up with your laying down.
Yeah, just trying to help.
I had a question just in regards to losing hop aroma when you rouse the fermenter.
Yes.
When you're doing this dry hop. So when you're bubbling up CO2, are you bubbling out aroma?
You are. You're bubbling out aroma, but it's a trade-off between getting more of that hop matter dissolved into the rest of the solution. I think it's a trade-off worth doing, because you're going to get a little bit of that CO2 pushed out. But one of the things that Shea Comfort had mentioned when he was on the show, and I think that also fits into this equation, is you're getting things like sulfur out. Winemakers do that all the time during fermentation, and brewers kind of ignore that, but I think it's actually critical. Not just a hoppy beer, but maybe agitating the ferment on other beer styles to get aromas out you don't like.
But you're like 10, 12 psi, quick blast of it, and then
2 ways. Yeah, if I'm doing it in a carboy, I'll gently swirl the carboy, and I'm not talking very vigorous, just little bit. You can see CO2 evolving out. You're good. Doing it with a conical, I'll basically connect CO2 up through the bottom, set it at 5 psi. Open it up gently. You can see the stuff bubbling out through the airlock. You're good. That's 2 ways in which you can do it, whether you're conical or carboy. Cool. Works great.
Okay. Let me get us to a quick break. We'll come back and we'll finish up some more dry hopping techniques and talk with Nathan Smith. You can join Jipper in the chat room. Just hit the chat now button. He's getting your questions over to me. The phone's not working too well because there's nobody to answer it. But you could try calling in Skype if you wanted to. Nathan Smith and dry hopping when we come back. Hang in there.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. On the Brewing Network.
Hi. I have a sixer of Lagunitas in the icebox. My roommate's gone for the weekend, and I'm wearing something flimsy.
Listen, baby, I told you not to call me after 8. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I gotta go.
Who is that? Your girlfriend? You loser.
Shut up, Doug. Did you guys get the cauldron set up on the altar of my art?
Sir, if you weren't so busy getting booty calls, you'd know that.
The hurricane furnace is using propane while you guys talk. All right, I'm using the scroll of Mosher to boil the first decoction. Nope, it's scorched. What do? Frack, scoop it out and try again. Doug, use your math rake. You took too long. The color is now darkened past the point where you can still call it a Pilsner.
This sucks.
I hate it when Greg's the brewmaster.
What's this? Poindexter Urkel?
Dude, can't you see we're in the middle of a brew session? Is that an actual beer?
Yeah, I crafted it. I don't really use the dice anymore. I'm a 10th level beer nerd.
Are you a 10th level beer nerd? Do you belch White Labs 833 and crap Simcoe? Then you're in good company at Northern Brewer. Northern Brewer has all your beer nerd needs. Ingredients, equipment, and knowledge 24 hours a day at northernbrewer.com. Plus, fast, cheap shipping. Only $7.99 for the contiguous USA. And check out Northern Brewer's huge selection of dorky beer kits, including the Cylon Detecting 3-Hearted Ale and the collector's item Super Alts.
Mine's in mint condition because it's still in the box.
Make 10th level at northernbrewer.com.
Hey, what are you doing, man?
Writing a review of WLP 400.
What? You're reviewing yeast?
Yeah. White Labs has home brewer reviews of all their strains. Are you new to these interwebs? Check it out.
That's awesome.
White Labs, your source for great yeast, invites all brewers to visit whitelabs.com to read and write your own reviews of all their yeast strains. Get real-world tips and tricks from other brewers who have made the most of their vials and post your own experiences. It's another way White Labs brings you closer to the best yeast on the planet.
And send. There you go.
You misspelled flocculate, dude.
What? Mother...
White Labs. It's all in the vial.
Sunday night, 5 o'clock rolls around. What's that sound? The voice of the brewing underground. I rush home. What's with the Abacast stream? Goddamn, it's almost time. Why don't you work? Fucking thing, it's 5:02. I reboot. Asshat iTunes. I hope Justin made the free FM commute. I'm on. Thank God, not a moment too soon. Holy shit, I just got booted out of the chat room. I won't back, motherfucker, when you do your risking. Oh, 2, all hail the Pope, Jay-Z, do like he told you, do what he say, well okay, at least mostly, and hit that fucking whirlpool, Viagra roast. Sometimes I don't, and I won't bitch more than a little bitch, but I love that sweet shit that likes life and aerobic. Damn, my yeast will not prove, and fucking booze being rude, boom, there goes the blow off too, and fuck this old chat room, I want out, Justin Chef, there goes my chocolate stout, and I never want to hear the word run high, skip about, I give up, 50G, why don't you push eject me, I'm screaming Gucci when D pushes me off the screen, Jamil, JP, Johnny G, I can't think, but then I hear Doc's little voice in my ear screaming, drink, motherfucker, drink, motherfucker, drink. The BN. Got me going for a silver or gold. The BN. But do I bitch warm or cold? The BN. Crew, get unripped fine. The Brewing Network. Life save 5 gallons at a time. The BN. Got me going for a silver or gold. The BN. Don't know the bitch warm or cold. The BN. Crew, get unripped fine. The Brewing Network. Life save 5 gallons at a time. I need some TBN Bach. What a shock, there's always horn in stock. Tick-tock, the visa's unlocked, Sean. Knock, knock, doc. Can you walk the walk? Pull out an airlock. A cock in his world flock. There's no my box. Into the mash goes a butt crack like a true breeder. It's type of pale ale, my man, Boogita. Flew for you beer nerds, that's Travis you just heard. The only man I know whose name is a cuss word. Come hang with Jays, I'm a Justin Haggerty. And no one understands a word Daniela says. Either Biscuit the Pit Bull or Code Right Info will sniff your crack. If you got the Jane hat, dude, line Excel, where's my hat? Yo, Pip Pound Matt, Bet Trans is a low fat. And lunch meat some grab ass. And what about Crouch Rock? He's more than just down the block. And then there's homegrown cops, he's missing just like us. Yo, I don't know, I can't see, but then I hear Doc's little voice in my ear screaming, who's gonna be out in the desert with me? The BN. Got me going for a silver or gold. The BN. But do I bitch warm or cold? The BN. Crew, get unripped fine. The Brewing Network. Life save 5 gallons at a time. The BN. Got me going for a silver or gold. The BN. Don't know the pitch warm or cold. The BN. Crew, get unripped fine. The Brewing Network. Life save 5 gallons at a time. Drunk of the year, Medtech, Henning's a train wreck. You wrote another verse to the song, hell yeah. What about a shun beneath sea? Come lactify me. I'm talking about the way your funk makes me call thee white bros. Come on, Chris, go ahead and ship me a vibe on the sweet little hose. That's a big fat redhead. It must be Sean O'Bet, or it could be Roger's ass smacked. I might hit that. This bitch, a flying donkey fist. Calling K's the shit, downtown mad scientist. Drizzle Bizzle, my man, Chris Graham next to Morgan. I hope ALND proves to be hot damn. Damn, Sean Paxton and Gordon Commandant. I'm taller than you both lying down. Just don't stand. Down we go. Please don't cry. Although we're gonna rock the fucking roof right off this bistro. BN. Got me going for a silver or gold. The BN. But do I bitch warm or cold? The BN. Crew, get unripped fine. The Brewing Network. Life save 5 gallons at a time. The BN. Got me going for a silver or gold. The BN. Don't know the pitch warm or cold. The BN. Crew, get unripped fine. The Brewing Network. Life save 5 gallons at a time. Screaming, drink, motherfucker, drink, motherfucker.
I could have mixed it with chocolate and vagina. It still wouldn't have helped.
Drink!
Wait till you can pour it out of your own kegerator.
I mean, your friends will look at you with awe.
And it's just hot.
It is?
It's so super hot.
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com.
Because like beer,
radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The Session. Keeping the ass out of Brewcast. This is the Brewing Network.
All right, welcome back to the program, everybody. We got Nathan Smith in the studio with us talking about some dry hopping beer.
Dry hopping.
And on top of that, Nathan Smith's band will be playing in October.
Yes, October 30th at the Metro in Oakland. For those of SF Bay Area locals, look for it's a show with Ghoul and Cannabis Corpse. And
really?
Yeah, and Brain Oil. My band is Brain Oil. So anyone into heavy music, I recommend checking that out.
Did the
Hop Oil.
Did the Sunshine Flower and Rainbow Kettle band bail out?
They didn't make
I
it.
don't know what happened.
The happiness tree syndrome?
Supposed to be opening up. So
I only listen to Screamo now.
Screamo?
Nathan, so I won't be making the show. I like
your past headbanging.
I like emotional screaming music.
Emotional screaming music. That's
So-
the
You
right.
left Yeah.
That's the right mix of postmodern rock and roll and hardcore aggressive music for you.
Yeah.
And awfulness.
So if you're
And
not going
awfulness.
to, if you won't be writing a couple Screamo songs between now and October, I will not be attending the show.
Oh, well, you know.
I will be
We'll
there.
try. Look at brainoil.com. Maybe I'll put a Screamo song up there for everybody.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Would you like me to write the lyrics for you? I've got
Yeah,
a lot
that
of
would be
miserable,
fantastic.
I've got a lot of sad things
I
running
think you
around
and
my
JP
head.
should collaborate on the lyrics.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Let's write a song for BNA 5.
Yeah.
You and me can do a Screamo, and then Nate here can back it
Since
up.
I didn't finish the song for BNA 4 with JP, I feel
Right.
kind of lame about that. We should do one for BNA 5. By the way, you can buy in the Brewing Network store the Brewing Network Anniversary 4 shirts.
That's
are there
right.
for purchase.
You, Nathan.
Quite fantastic design, if I do say so myself. Quite
JP,
artistic.
You're fired. Get out.
All right. Later.
Nathan.
I have cats to groom.
But better see those at the GABF. Everyone going, man. Wear your BNA 4 shirt.
I'm wearing mine now.
Yeah, check
Hell
that. I'm
yeah,
wearing
the
mine
green
too.
one.
I'm wearing the black version.
Yeah, she's wearing.
Yeah, I will be bringing some to the GABF
Sweet.
along with 2 brand new designs that I think everyone's going to be really excited about. I think Chad's the only one in the room who's seen them, and I don't think I showed you the final version of the of the one I'm real excited about. I'm keeping them under wraps. They will be for sale at the GABF, and then whatever's left. It's kind of our test market. I'll determine what people are excited about, and that's what I'll order for the store. So. Okay.
sense.
Well, Nathan, I thought what we could do to talk a little bit more about dry hopping is get a little technical about what's happening. I mean, I guess the simple answer to why we dry hop is that we want to get that aroma and that flavor, even the flavor,
even some flavor,
in the beer. But I want to know what's happening, and I want to talk about the oils. Chad was talking to you before the show. I thought he brought up just a really great topic about what the different oils are. So,
absolutely,
could you shed some light onto that?
Yes. So, when we're dry hopping, the main thing that we're really doing at that point is we're getting hop oils into solution. And it's tough to do because oils only comprise about 0.5% to maybe 3% of the overall matter that's in the hops to begin with. So you can imagine how tough that would be to extract up to maybe 3% maximum of the entire goodies from the hops in your beer. So let's think for a little bit about that. And even though there's such a small fraction of what's the active ingredient in the hops, there's over 250 compounds in those hop oils, and they're grouped into two different families of hydrocarbons, basically monoterpenoids and sesquiterpenoids. Now, that's a tough word to say after you've had some beer, but think about those words for a minute. A lot of this information comes from Matt Brynildson. By the way, he's a brilliant hop chemist, so I can't take a lot of credit to myself. I'm
sure you can. He doesn't listen to the
repeating
show.
a lot of stuff that Matt has taught us.
You're adding on to it.
So my role is to translate that stuff for us kind of homebrewer guys on the street. So let's break that down for a second. Monoterpenoids are the hydrocarbons that are associated with fresh dry hop aroma in American brewing. So you hear terms like oils that are in the hops like myrcene or linalool or geranol or limonene. Those are monoterpenoids, and they're highly volatile compounds. Traditional brewing practice disregards their importance. It says that you're going to volatilize these off in the kettle. When you boil, it doesn't make a difference in your final beer. And that's sort of the German technical brewing side of thinking about the monoterpenoids, is that because they're not doing aggressive dry hopping like we are in the United States, they're not really concerned with those type of oils.
Right.
So that family of oils tends to get ignored a little bit, but they're crucial for American styles, and especially the American citrus hops. The really interesting stuff that we want all comes from those monoterpenoids. So thinking about them in context of brewing or of oils and hops is really important. So the other side of that equation is the sesquiterpenoids. When they oxidize, they're associated with a noble hop aroma. And that's really where the brewing science around hops is really focused on the sesquiterpenoids and alpha-humulene and beta-carotene. So thinking about German brewing technique, something like a Northern German Pils, would be really concerned about those two primary components of the sesquiterpenoid family, because for a high-quality hop, they're really looking for a 3-to-1 ratio of the alpha-humulene to beta-caryophyllene. And that's going to give you some of that hop aroma that you associate with a really good German Pils, or maybe even a really good Helles, or something like that. So
that sort of clean, noble, yet
spicy,
still pungent, and
yeah, exactly, spicy. A little bit pungent. You can tell the hops are there.
Yeah,
but it's not nowhere near the citrus dank American type of aroma you'd expect from those oils.
Okay.
So those oils in traditional brewing world are pretty well understood, those sesquiterpenoids. And really a lot of the academic brewing texts don't really talk about the monoterpenoids so much. So folks like Matt Brynildson, who are super knowledgeable and focusing on this now in their process, are thinking about what sort of equivalent could we have to that 3-to-1 ratio of the alpha-humulene to the beta-caryophyllene? Is there one for the monoterpenoids that would make sense for us? And one that's been proposed and that maybe have gained some traction is the percentage of limonene in the monoterpenoids. Then limonene is something that you're going to get a big grapefruit quality out of, maybe something that's a little bit in this wet hop beer that we tasted earlier. And hops that are normally associated with this big limonene content would be some of the usual suspects you might suspect, like Cascade, Centennial, Simcoe.
Yeah.
So that may be one metric that we can use to judge, is the oil content good for American-style hoppy beers? Can we use limonene sort of similar to that 3-to-1 ratio that had been used for the sesquiterpenoids historically? And there's, we have pretty good modern examples of those hops in beers that people like, so that could sort of back that up to some degree. One interesting thing, too, I should mention about these two families of oils is that the sesquiterpenoids, the kind that are associated with the noble hop aroma, are really stable in solution, and they're easy to get in solution, as opposed to the monoterpenoids, which are tough to get into solution.
Okay, see, this is something... I'm glad you're bringing this up about getting it in solution, because this is something that I find interesting. And Jamil, you guys were just talking about it on the show the other day. And so just to dumb it down, right... We're talking about hop oils and getting them into a liquid solution.
Yep.
And I don't know why. Probably because I'm slow. I had never really kind of put the two together and got, oil and water don't mix.
Right.
It's a very difficult thing to do.
Absolutely.
To get oil into solution with water, and every fifth grader does the experiment where you get to see that, right?
Right.
So I guess that's in talking about how it is that we're actually getting these oils into solution, because since that's the goal,
right?
It, for one, I guess, explains why it's so inefficient. The amount of oil we actually get into solution, some of these compounds and volatiles you're talking about, is pretty low compared to how much we're putting in.
Yes.
But then, so how are we maximizing this process where we're making oil mixed with water?
That's part of the reason why I think that agitation, which I had mentioned a little bit before the break, taking the fermenter and somehow blowing CO2 up through it, or taking a carboy and swirling it gently, exactly. Some of that, you're helping the hops have more physical contact with the solution.
Yeah.
Therefore, that oil and water, paradox, you're going to get a little bit more of that actually in the final product, because you're sort of forcing the matter to have more contact with the liquid.
Right.
So one interesting data point, not in terms of just hop oil, but thinking about just overall bitterness has this problem too. How are we going to get alpha acids into solution?
Right.
One of the things that Mitch Steele had mentioned is that as alcohol and overall carbohydrate quantities are going to help you carry higher amounts of IBU in the final beer. So you could have a barley wine that may exceed 100 IBU. A standard pale ale, probably not, because you're having much less alcohol, much less carbohydrate content than you'd have for, obviously, an American barley wine.
That's interesting.
That's one reason why, and I don't know if the same holds true for hop oils, but I would guess, at least maybe for alcohol, that possibly does.
Yeah.
Alcohol may help dissolve some of those hop oils into solution, at least to some degree, during a dry hop, and that may help you get more of that in the final beer.
And
okay. You have a question, Chad?
Yeah,
I
I'm
do.
sure it does. Alcohol. Yeah, it's a good
solvent, right? Yeah.
It's another one besides water. So yeah, I'm sure it acts.
And with the alcohol in there, a lot of people always ask, man, is this going to ruin my beer? These hops aren't boiled if I add them to post fermentation, blah blah blah. Will the alcohol kind of fight that? Will that help? So you don't bring any kind of bad things into it?
I think it will, actually. I think that's one of the reasons why. So I made this wet hop beer that we tasted earlier. Last year's example, I think, suffered a little bit from whatever bugs may have come in from the hops right from my yard. That's one reason why I bumped up this year's version of it to about 8-9%. That's where a lot of some of the nastier bacteria and whatnot will really drop off their effectiveness at about 8 or 9% alcohol in solution.
Because we have to assume that your hops growing in your backyard in Oakland, and I'm not really making a joke here, I'm being are covered in bacteria of all sorts, right? I mean, just covered in...
Absolutely. I mean, I live in the middle of an urban area. I mean, whatever's in the air is on these hops.
I mean, the guy with his paper bag of beer probably pissed on your hops at least at some point.
Exactly.
So you are... I think it's an excellent
question. The guy
walking
by smoking a cigarette, or something, right? There's smoke that's probably... Or whatever, you know what I mean? There's just stuff in the air that's going to be on the hops that if you're making a little bit bigger beer, a little bit higher alcohol, you have a greater chance of limiting the effects of some of the nasty bacteria that you don't want in there.
And yeast, and wild yeast, right?
And wild yeast, exactly. You're limiting their effects too. I mean...
Not to mention, right, that there's less food in this finished beer than there is wort for any of these bacteria, right?
Absolutely.
So I mean, the usable sugar has been eaten.
The pH has dropped. Usable sugar has been eaten, and you have alcohol content, and still hops into solution.
It's not a very friendly environment.
So I think it's that we're certainly introducing a lot of foreign things that we don't necessarily want in our beer.
Sure,
but there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, it's a hostile environment for them.
Yeah, and I do think if you would repeat it, you did say you found it to be a little better at 8-9% than you did at last year's version, which was what 6 or 7?
About 6 to 6.5. I think actually making a, because that's sort of the common thinking of making a wet hop beer or a harvest ale is that you would do something maybe a little bit bigger than a pale ale or along the lines of a standard IPA. I'm thinking actually you might want to make it even bigger than that to sort of limit the effects of any critters that may end up in the beer during your dry hop process. I mean,
the bigger the beer, the more hops you got to put.
The bigger, yeah, exactly. I mean, it may be a little bit tough.
It up for the other
on the commercial scale, it may be a little bit tough because they don't necessarily have that much wet, undried hop material available. But the home brewer, maybe you do.
Commercially, I'm sure they worry about knockout, right? Because they're going to. It's got so much matter in there.
It's pretty ridiculous.
They can hardly get any beer out of the boil,
Yeah, it's worth considering. I think it made a better beer overall, and this is the favorite wet hop beer that I've done so far, and I think that alcohol content is one reason why.
And were you worried about maybe the oils on your hands as well, or when you do dry hop, maybe with pellets? Is that going to be absorbed? Have you ever heard of that being?
I guess it could. I mean, if you don't overhandle the hops, then
I've really heard people won't buy hops from like a more beer or something because they just package them and people are touching them.
Somebody touched them.
I'm not doing that.
I mean, I guess it's a
I've never heard that in my entire life, Chad. How dare you?
Right.
Give me something to throw at your stupid face.
I think I think it's something to bring up, but it can't be any more than what's happening out in the field and when it's being handled then in pre-packaging.
I guess one thing you could say in defense of that is that when the hops normally come off the field, they're kilned, hot process, and then they're stored cold in freezing or cold temperatures, which could limit the growth at least of any nasties that may be on there. But actually, Matt Brynildson had done a study of this where they'd plated all the microorganisms that they'd found on hops that came into the brewery. And found that none of them were, all of them were bacterias, of course, of some kind, but none of them were beer spoilers, what they call the worst of the worst.
Okay.
So, based on that sort of information, we can have pretty good confidence that, you may introduce a couple of guys, but they're generally not going to turn the beer into something that's totally undrinkable.
Guys?
Guys, I mean, meaning
so I would say then
bacteria.
I mean, that sounds to me that, unless it's JP's ball-filled hands that are packaging these
that's
hops,
an exception.
It's probably fine.
I think they keep JP off the actual working floor these days, so you're probably safe on that one.
Actually, we do package them in a dry weight machine, so nobody actually touches them, and then if they do, they have gloves on.
Okay.
So, thanks, Chad.
So even your ball-filled hands, they would make you wear gloves.
Oh, I'm way beneath. Or way above.
I think you had it right the first time.
Hops. Yeah, beneath hops. I'm more of a toilet guy.
Yes, I package our cleaning products.
I should mention while we're kind of in the middle of this discussion that JP gave me some really. I almost said GP. That's really funny. He gave me some really cool hop aroma tabs.
Yeah, good, Nate. Great. You want to hand this back to me?
From Hop Union. It's just the aroma.
What are they?
Aroma portion of a hop pellet, essentially.
So what do you put them in water? Or?
Concentrated aroma.
Like little tablets.
Yeah, so it's little tablets. You could use them like a dry hop, correct?
Yeah. Oh, you use them in beer.
You can use them as a dry hop or in the boil.
Ask Brynildson about those.
Or in
I thought they just were like a testing but you could actually use them in the beer.
It's a concentrated aroma compounds from the hop, so just the oils supposedly, and it sounds really cool. I'd like to try this as a dry hop in maybe a pale ale to begin with, and
or
see
a
if
Union
it really
Jack.
carries through.
What does Brynolfson say? Oh, he likes it.
Every brewer I
Really?
go to, I say, I really like the aroma in Union Jack. They always go extract.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That could very well be.
Well, a lot of
they-
brewers use extract, too.
Yeah,
So.
Pliny the Elder.
Really?
Well, this is on the end, though.
Pliny the Elder,
Pliny's a
that's true.
bittering extract.
Yeah.
I don't know that he does use it
A dry hop
for aroma.
extract. Interesting. Why not?
Why not?
You know, and that's another thing I thought about when you're talking about these compounds and what they equal. I mean, there was a point where you it was the
sesquiterpenoids?
Thank you.
Yes, the noble hop associated ones.
That would be more associated with sort of the grapefruit flavor that we were talking about. Is that
Those are the German hop, noble hop ones, the spicy ones. The grapefruit ones would be the monoterpenoids.
the monoterpenoids?
Yes.
Okay. Either way, so fast food companies, right?
Yes.
Have these. They have. McDonald's has a research facility where they deal with compounds that are flavor and aroma,
Right.
and essentially and believe me, I love it. That wonderful French fry smell that comes out of a McDonald's is.
Big round of applause for French fries.
It's very much a they studied it and they figured
Right.
out exactly which compounds it was, and they're placed into the fries. I mean,
Yes.
they're these
artificially placed in it. So
but they're natural compounds.
No, they are.
I mean, I'm
sure.
not saying they're putting chemicals in our food. They're natural food compounds. In fact,
Right.
anytime you see read the packaging on your foods, your beverages, it all says natural flavoring, right? Well, they're not lying to you. These are compounds that occur naturally in nature. The difference is that they have taken these natural compounds and really selected them, focused on them, and put in the exact amount to give you that grape juice flavor that we all love.
That's a good point. I wonder if beer will somehow reach that point. Someday.
It should.
Somebody will isolate limonene. Maybe?
Really? It's called a gas. Yeah.
Gas chromatograph.
Exactly. And they basically they can pick out what they want.
Right.
And pretty much,
then emphasize it in different places.
Throughout the whole process.
It's beautiful.
Anywhere.
I mean, and that's exactly what I was thinking about as you're talking about these things. And it's just that we've not, brewing is still an ancient process.
Yeah, brewing hasn't quite got to that point.
Yeah.
It's probably all about money. Is that, that... return on investment isn't there yet, but maybe someday it will be.
I absolutely believe that it will be.
Yeah.
That we will have a much more focused, which will be good or bad, who cares? But I think it absolutely will be the science of the compounds rather than the growing of a product and throwing it in
Regardless
solution
of what
and
people
hoping
think, it will
yeah.
probably happen.
Yeah.
I bet you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, it's a really interesting comparison. It's really not very different than food science right now.
True.
It's just that food science is a lot further along in figuring out these oils and these compounds you're talking about.
Exactly. So the people, studying hop oils are probably looking at these sort of things, and that's one reason why people like Matt have proposed this idea of thinking about, can we put a metric on monoterpenoids for a double IPA brewer? And you could buy a hop that has, specific, limonene percentage content that's advertised up front. This year's crop of Columbus, for example, has, X amount versus last year, that kind of thing. It's not part of the common nomenclature yet.
Right.
But this is what the brewers are proposing. Maybe we think about it in that context, because just thinking about alpha acid, or just thinking about how traditionally hop oils were calculated for a good hop aroma, isn't working for a modern, double IPA brewer, or a pale ale brewer, or a American brown ale brewer, or something like that.
It just doesn't say enough about it.
It just doesn't say enough about it, exactly.
You didn't know more about the flavors that are actually in there.
One thing I should mention as well is when thinking about hop oils is that a lot of the American high alpha varieties, or the super alpha varieties, like high alpha being Columbus, or Centennial to some degree, or Amarillo, the super alphas being Apollo or Summit, where they're hitting 15% alpha acid plus. The high alpha and super alpha acid have more oil content as a part of the active ingredients than the lower alpha acid hops do. For example, Cascade's about a 0.8 to about 1.5% oil, and when you get up to Summit, it's about 2 to 2.5% oil. So that's one thing that can really help the homebrewer, I think, directly, is if you're picking a hop that you want to have a big aroma impact, think about picking a higher alpha hop. I think that's going to actually help you. I had this interesting discussion with Roger Davis at some point in the last year when he didn't show me his ass. That's they'd picked Apollo, which is a new hop from Hop Steiner, a really high alpha dwarf hop, somewhat similar in its pedigree, or at least its research to Summit. and they'd used that in their double IPA that they had brewed for the Bistro the Bistro Double IPA Fest in February, and won a second place award with that beer. I think one thing that really helped that beer stand out is he had found a really interesting hop, super fresh, with a high oil content, because it was one of these new Super Alpha varieties. So think about if you're dry hopping and want to make a big, massive double IPA or big American barley wine, maybe think about using Summit or Cascade, or sorry, not Cascade, Summit or Columbus or something like Apollo if you can get it. I mean,
Bravo.
I think another one of your sponsors, Nico Brew, I think actually has a lot of really high alpha hops that may be tough to get from other sources, and a lot of homebrewers have been a fan of getting hops from them recently because they have some more esoteric ones, so that's worth looking at for the BN audience. Look at those.
Chasey, did Nathan just rock your dry hopping world? You're kind of shaking your head about thinking about those oils and dry hopping instead of just an alpha acid.
I think he's shaking the cobwebs more than anything.
Oh, he was just trying to wake up.
What was I thinking about?
I was thinking about bunnies and
Chad running on
cars.
the beach in his...
I was able to get a hold of this other high alpha hop, Citra.
Yeah.
TRA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 11 alpha. It's kind of amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
If you want to learn...
It's really, really aromatic, though.
If you want to learn about Citra, tune into the Brewing Network during the GABF. There's a What's New in Brewing panel, and I don't know.
Very cool. Very cool.
The moderator told me... That's me. That
is it you?
It's me. That's how I know. I was trying to be sly about how I know, and it didn't work.
You're an insider.
We're going to talk about some Citra. And
right, I'll be there.
The rumor is that Citra's going to be everywhere in the coming year. So find out about what's new in brewing.
I have a beer right here made with Citra, and
like swine
really?
flu.
You don't have any, no. Great
Chad,
aroma.
Dick. What? Now I'm on the JP list. You don't like me
it's right
either?
there in the kitchen.
Yeah, you and me. Shit.
JP's got some. I think maybe
JP got
finally
I'm below JP on the list.
Yeah, you are.
Nathan, can we start a screamo band called Super Alpha Acid?
Super Alpha Acid?
I think it'd be a good...
that might work. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. All right, look, a couple of questions from the chat.
Cool.
Extra Medium wants to know...
Extra Medium.
How do you get that piney, kick you in the junk flavor from a dry hop? That pine type of a...
Real pine type of thing, I would say you'd want to go with a hop like Simcoe blended with Columbus. Would really get you that piney. Columbus especially is going to give you that dank type of quality.
Okay.
Dank meaning, what you think it is.
Yeah.
And Simcoe really having this big evergreen, pine tar, going back to the beginning of the show. I think I was kind of expecting maybe that someone would come away with pine tar, Simcoe kind of comparisons between those two German-style beers. But anyway, Simcoe and Columbus, I think, is your ticket on that one. Try that.
Okay.
Extra Medium, check it out. See what you think.
I know we kind of went over this about the length of time, but we can just cover it quickly. Gnome Brewer, wants to know what's the longest people leave beer on the dry hop.
Some people have no problem leaving it there for 6-8 weeks and not really, noticing any off flavors. Some folks will notice a grassy or a vegetative flavor even after about 4 weeks or 2 weeks. I would say 2 weeks maximum.
And certainly in some cases, people are never removing the beer from the dry hop.
That's
You're talking about the filter.
Yes.
So it's also something that could be there for the life of the beer.
That actually is going to help you out in drinking that beer quickly after Chad makes it.
Right.
And dry hops the beer in the keg.
Yeah.
You got to drink that beer fast.
Chad's going to be wondering why I'm encouraging to dry hop everything. He's going to make like a blonde tomorrow. You should dry hop that, Chad.
It's like your license to drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just pour pint after pint then,
You should totally dry. I think, wouldn't it be great if you dry hopped that?
Just don't tell him you dry hopped anything.
Yeah.
No, I didn't dry hop that one.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question from Blobber Glooby 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 Globby Globby Gloppy Glop.
That's the short version.
He wants to know a question for Nathan. When dry hopping that Harvest Ale that we had,
yes.
How the hell did you get Nicole to be interested in you?
I had to wait till she was at work until I did that kind of stuff.
Is that a one-part question?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think he snuck that in. I think he means in general. How the hell is Nicole interested in your nerdy
in general?
Yeah.
She's pretty nerdy too. So.
I see.
When you guys see her at the GABF,
say bravo.
If you guys see her at the GABF, talk to her about nerdy stuff. She'll love that.
She'll okay, go right for it.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Jip. Let's go. What?
What the hell?
Let me look and see what I sent you. Maybe I sent you some weird sex thing.
The Brew Slut.
Oh yeah, Brew Slut.
Wants to know, Jip, please ask the guest if extracted tannic acid from nuts could be used for bittering.
I told him, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
If you want, it sounds tannic acid. That sounds really harsh. Like if you want extra tannins,
yeah,
maybe you'd put that in or something. I don't know.
Right. Otherwise, leave the nuts to JP.
Leave nuts to somebody else.
It's a follow-up. He says, I'm processing acorns for bread and possibly beer. And they have to be boiled to cut down on the tannic acids bittering so you can eat them. Wondering if this acid could be used to bitter.
Interesting.
I'm going to tell him, I don't know, why don't you try it instead of asking Nathan.
Hops are cheap enough.
Acid is for sour.
Use those to bitter and call it good, I guess.
And I think in general the word tannin or tannic and beer are
generally it's not a good thing. I mean, some amount of tannins in wine I guess are acceptable. I'm out of my element there. So don't know how to comment. But there's a beer that I poured at the break, which is kind of an interesting phenomenon. So I've been playing around with this idea. For those that remember the last WIPA show, one of the beers we drank on that show was essentially a Belgian-style triple as the malt bill and a double IPA as the hop bill. Had a lot of fun doing that, but sort of backed down from that idea since. And I think that the most elegant interpretation of that idea is something like the Laurel's Triple, where the American-style hops only add a certain amount of complexity where the esters and phenols from the yeast can't. So using American hops as an accent as opposed to being in the center point of the stage. So not a dry hop beer. We poured this beer at the break, and it uses one American hop variety. I'm kind of curious what you might think that American hop variety is, Justin.
Yeah, Chad put me to the test at that on the break too.
Did you get one?
He likes it when I'm not spot. He likes when I'm not good at things to make me talk about them.
Or Chad, or Tasty, or JP. There's one American hop variety.
Yeah, I'll
beer.
go for it. So it's a single. By the way, the beer is great.
Thanks.
A little bit of heat to it, like there should be. It's a triple, you said, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of spice, a little bit of alcohol. It's about 8.3%.
I'm going to say Mount Hood.
Mount Hood? Good. Guess?
That's a guess. That's
Didn't he say me guess? He said Justin.
Justin.
He said or.
I won't say either way yet.
God, you're so... You want to talk about it? We haven't talked in a while.
You can say Mount Hood, too.
Yeah. I just... Because I was totally going to say Mount Hood.
I was going to say Mount Hood, then you ruined it.
I really am not good at picking out hop profiles or much of anything, for that matter. I'm good at throwing parties.
Well...
And that I can do.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah? When's that start?
Let's see.
Damn.
Is he going to guess?
What, do we need more people in here to pick on?
Wow, he woke up just to insult you and then fell back asleep.
It's an American hop.
Yeah, there's one American hop in it.
It's Chinook.
Added the flame out.
Mount.
Chinook?
No, it's not my guess.
Mount Hood. Say it.
What is this? Final answer thing?
Trying to think about it.
Or Liberty.
Trying to think logically.
Or Liberty. Yeah.
I think it's Amarillo.
Well done. It is. Wow. Wow. You know more than you think, man.
Suck it.
Wow. God damn.
Thank you.
I was going to say
done, Justin.
anyway.
All right.
Well
Wow.
done. Yeah.
How about that?
No, I wasn't going to say Amarillo.
No?
Nope.
No.
Me neither. Good guess.
So that's one of those hops that has this big tangerine and almost peach type of flavor.
Yeah.
That's sort of some flavors that Belgian ale yeast doesn't kick out so much of, but sort of can complement, the apple or pear-like flavors you can get from Belgian ale yeast. So this was done with the Bastogne ale yeast from White Labs, the Platinum series from May to June, WLP 510, and then a little bit of Amarillo added in the flame out. But the idea is to give it enough of that familiar quality of an American hoppy beer for the West Coast beer drinker, but not be so obvious as to big citrus, big dank, that kind of thing, right? So,
I think it fits great.
I think it works really well as an accent, not as a main player in the middle of the stage. Like you can use these aggressive hops with a big oil content, like Amarillo, to accentuate other ingredients like yeast if you're careful about it. I mean, we have this tendency since American brewers have discovered those hops to just go overboard all the time. And some of the more interesting ideas, if you're dealing with how combining it with yeast, you have to be a little bit more careful. I think as if you add too much dry hop or late hop of an American style citrus hop with Belgian ale yeast, it will taste too phenolic. It'll accentuate like a Band-Aid like flavor or a clove like flavor, which may not even be there to begin with.
Right, but if it accentuates something similar to it, even
exactly, it changes. Perception is everything, right? You can say that's not what I intended, but it doesn't matter if that's what comes across to the person drinking it, right?
And there's that Belgian brewery that did. You can still buy it.
Obolon Schoof.
There you go. And
Yes.
I do believe maybe you can help me. I think they used Amarillo.
A lot of Amarillo and and some Saws. Yeah, and it's.
But I think they used it wrong. If there's a wrong,
I tend to agree a bit. That was kind of my starting point in making this style of beer. Is that they had said, here's our double IPA triple.
Right.
Kind of a funny name.
Well,
and
that was their project. They wanted to take their style of beer and do this, hybrid with American IPAs.
Correct.
So that being said, for them, that's really what they were going for. I don't like the beer. I didn't like the bitter outcome.
Right.
But here's a case where, maybe they could have been a little less gung-ho about trying to use these American hops and done something a little nicer.
Exactly. I think American hops can be used to complement the yeast character, but you don't want it to overpower it, or odd things start to pop out. Like the hops start to not taste so interesting, and the yeast flavors start to taste not so interesting if you go too far. I mean, for homebrewers that want to play around with this, I think hops that work well with the Belgian ale yeast tend to be more citrus, more like Amarillo or Centennial, and less of Columbus or Summit, or less of the dank and piney, like Simcoe. I don't think would work necessarily well with the Belgian ale yeast. You want to go more traditional. Just straight citrus or big citrus with some of the newer super citrus varieties like Amarillo or
and this
Centennial.
Was flame out, you said on this
flame
pickle.
out.
So you're not talking about bittering here.
No dry hop. Yeah, bittering was just done with this batch was Warrior. I've done it with Nugget or Warrior, and they're a little bit interchangeable. You could use a nice clean Hallertau too, and no dry hop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just let the yeast kind of come through. But it's kind of a cool thing to think about, like as use the citrus aggressive qualities of American type of hops, but don't let them overpower too much.
Yeah.
So if, listeners who may be interested in this concept, I'll have a Pro-Am beer I did with Triple Rock this year. It's the same triple that we're tasting on the show. So go to the Pro-Am booth. It'll be there on Saturday day session and Saturday night session. It'll be the Verhouse Triple at the Pro-Am booth. So check that out. It's Amarillo in the 0 minute, and that one was Warrior. Yeah, so Warrior and Amarillo.
Chad, have you brewed a triple yet?
I have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. Did I drink it all?
No, we drank it all, though, together.
Oh, okay, good.
There was a group effort.
Did we hug and cry afterward when we drank it all together? Yeah, we might have. I did, since you mentioned that this is your Pro-Am beer, I want to talk about that for a second. So I'm on Facebook.
Facebook.
The other day. And you know how it has the ads on the side? Right?
Yes.
Not many ads. Not talking big banners. They have little
text-based
little text ads. Some motherfucker is advertising his Pro-Am beer.
Oh, really?
Really?
Come by on Thursday and drink my Pro-Am beer. And I'm thinking about
Google ad?
Is it? I forget. Is it a People's Choice Award?
No,
do we
it's
vote?
not.
It's
No,
judged.
no,
Oh,
it's
that
judged.
doesn't
It's
matter.
judged.
I couldn't remember because I was like, if this is People's Choice, I might have to not eat ramen this week and buy Tasty some goddamn ads.
What a brilliant idea!
Because this is bullshit.
Wouldn't want to get out PR'd.
Yeah, and that's
really
I was like, I can't
really interesting. Homebrewing's come a long way if people are paying money to PR their Pro-Am
it's really
beer.
you can.
So he's actually talking about coming to have it at the GABF.
He said, "Come on." He created a we probably know him. I'm calling him an asshole.
Well,
I
want to drink. I want to have a beer with him.
He created a Facebook page for his Pro-Am beer.
Become a fan.
You can become a fan of his Pro-Am beer.
I see.
And then what he did was he promoted his Facebook page, his fan page with an ad.
Very technically savvy.
And like I said, I didn't remember if it was a People's Choice thing because if it was, seriously, I was like, I gotta. As soon as Tasty gets home, we're gonna have a talk.
Right.
I gotta figure this out.
We're gonna have a talk. That's weird. I have my Facebook up and I have a Dungeons and Dragons ad.
Weird.
And and then a grab your weapon and a who needs killing ad.
And a
wow,
and a suicide hotline ad.
Seriously, what the hell?
They target those ads at you and what you do on there.
Date local singles
and a Xanax ad.
Exactly. Yes.
Date local males.
It's just weird. They have that. What side is that?
Or animals.
Right.
So I'm curious, Tasty.
I bet you are.
Speaking of Pro-Am,
I'll be regular Tasty.
That kind of
No.
Anyway, so the Pro-Am beer I did this year had no dry hop. Speaking of dry hop, you did obviously a really fantastic beer with Russian River.
Yeah.
Anything interesting about the dry hop that that translated differently from what you do on the homebrew level to
good question.
To the pro level?
The beer that we made at Russian River, and of course the dry hop was all scaled up like everything else in the recipe. I didn't have the hop aroma that my beer usually has.
Okay.
They dry hop a little cooler than me. They once the ferment's complete, that's when they want to dry hop. That's also when they want to lower the temperature of the ferment to get the 001 to drop out.
Right.
So they do it on the cool side, I think like 65 or something like that. So I think I would have used more dry hop if I didn't know that was part of their process.
Right. So. Cool.
So yeah, it's less aromatic.
It's a slightly less aromatic than
This beer smells malty, whereas my beer actually smells a little bit of malty and hop aroma.
Percentage wise, though, the amount of hops used were obviously scaled up to the batch size were equal, right?
Yeah, we scaled it up. Actually, basically, I just took sending my pro mash recipe. I sent him my pro mash file, and he just ran it, lock ingredients to batch size button, and just ran it up to whatever 550 gallons, whatever. And that's just what we did. Now we did do a little bit of rounding. I think it came up to like 50 pounds of chocolate malt. We said, let's just make that 50. Or the RMC came up like 45. Let's just go for the whole sack. Because that's not going to make that big a difference.
Yeah, I've said that before. At that level.
But pretty much it was that recipe, just pretty much like the home brew. And it came out a lot more chocolatey than I expected in the beginning, but it seemed like that is what has dropped out the most is the chocolate. So at 8 weeks old today.
That beer kind of has a thin mints type of quality to it, and I think the dry hop lends itself to that a little bit. What hop variety do you think accentuates that quality?
That's the Northern Brewer.
That's the Northern Brewer edition in the kettle.
Yeah. It's in the mash hop. It's in the 60. Then it's at 10 as well.
Got it.
And there's also Cascade at 10 and a Cascade at Flame Out. And I dry hop with Centennial. But what I like about Northern Brewer is a lot of the hop flavor, even some of the aromatics, carry over from that late edition. I think they carry over from the mash hop as well. I definitely get. I've tried the beer mash hop and not mash hop, and I definitely get more hop flavor and aroma when I do the mash hop.
Well, that's one thing in talking about these oils. Why the German style brewers will take their noble hops, especially things like Hallertau, Tettnang, and Saaz, and let them sit out for about a week or two before they brew with them. Yeah. That's oxidizing those sesquiterpenoids. That actually helps it carry through to the final beer in terms of aroma. Right. And that's one reason why I think mash hopping of those type of hops really tends to help the overall aroma, which is counterintuitive. Maybe Mount Hood actually has enough of the qualities of those sesquiterpenoids to make that. I don't know at all. I'm just theorizing as we're sitting here.
Right. Well, then they also at play here is you're gonna everything that's in the mash hop is going to get boiled for 90 minutes before it has a chance to hold on to that flavor and aroma. Right. It's a pretty vigorous amount of time. But, there's some theories that it actually still happens. I was talking to Colin Kaminsky, and he was talking about how the alpha acids will attach to the glucose and, actually bind with the sugars.
And then during fermentation, that's released?
So that they're protected during the boil. They make it all the way through. They become an ester at the end.
And then you're also... Oh, go ahead. You had a question.
No.
As far as, that's calculated, too. For bitterness, you're taking that into account?
Yeah, that's right. On the mash hop for the I used the Pro Mash default, which is it's 70% of the IBUs as if I'd added those hops at 60 minutes.
So you're also not putting as much veggie material, I guess, into the boil itself?
That's true. Then I'm just doing an extraction there. Sure. Yeah, less.
Which might be a better thing as well. No,
I don't know if I'm getting the
quite possibly.
If I'm getting the bittering. The beer, by formula, again, that's accounting for 70% utilization in the mash hop. Is 60 IBUs, and I taste the beer, and I have other people taste it, and they think it tastes like 60 IBUs. So I don't know. It could be I think on Beersmith, I think it counts it for like 30%. So on there, I'd be like a 49 IBU beer instead of 60.
Measured versus perceived.
Yeah.
Well, it's also different. Beersmith uses Tensith. And Pro Mash uses regular.
You can use either one, but that's the defaults for those.
Well, I've always wondered if is Flame Out, is that like a gay guy going straight?
Yes. When you
the flame is done.
Yeah. You've stopped taking it at least.
Okay. I'm just curious.
What happens
if they say that?
Yeah. I did want to agree with one thing. I can't speak to the hop profile you guys are talking about. I will tell you this, Tasty. You're absolutely right. about that chocolate character dropping out of that beer.
Oh, yeah.
Shat and I were at EJ last Thursday-ish, something like that.
They had a good run there.
Still had Janet's on.
Yeah.
Had that.
It's on there
It is
still.
better than ever.
Oh, yeah.
It
Completely
is
different beer.
so goddamn good right now that I didn't even move to another beer. We had 3 or 4 pints. I stayed with it. It's that those characters that were a little upfront and harsh in the beginning have just mellowed out and melted together.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be at the age you want it to be at that Pro-Am table, is what I think.
I'm laughing
when is that beer? When
because
is that beer going to be on for those that want to go check it out? Janet's Brown.
It's going to be on Saturday, both sessions as well.
Saturday sessions,
Okay.
cool.
So why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because the beer is peaking now, and we brewed it on a brew day so that it would be 9 weeks after we made the beer.
Oh, is that right?
Because that's when the beer peaks.
You calculating bastards.
I know, it's terrible.
Love it. That's your rule as a homebrew version, too.
Because I know
9 weeks.
that's right. That's what I brought
that relates back to one of the listener questions directly, like that hop aroma dropping off after about 3 weeks. So you know your process, you know your beer, your recipe.
Yeah.
That's where if they don't like it after 3 weeks or don't like it as much.
Yeah.
That's an important thing to think about as you've brewed that recipe over and over and over again. If you're having a party or you're serving it for an event, think about that in advance. It's critical.
Yeah. If you're brewing it to bring to Justin's house, for example.
Make sure it's really good.
Think about these things.
Drink real fast.
It sounds like Mike's beer tastes like you're falling in love.
I don't know.
It tastes like how love feels.
I wouldn't be able to express it other than in a Screamo song.
No.
So you're better than me.
Why don't you write one right now?
I might have to do that. Taste of my dick. Taste of my dick.
Indecipherable.
All right, quick break. We're going to wrap things up when we come back. If you want to do Drunk of the Week, I'll take phone calls. 888-401-BEER. No screening, so I'll just answer them, whatever. And we got some Belgian candy sugar to give away. Hang in there. It's the session.
No screening. I'll screen.
You're listening to the Brewcasters. The Brewcasters on the Brewing Network.
Williams Brewing is your online resource for prompt delivery of quality home brewing supplies. Since 1979, Williams Brewing has offered the finest equipment and freshest ingredients and the best customer service in the business. Cut hours off your brewing sessions by using one of their 11 varieties of famous Williams malt extract. Their Williams German Pils is mashed with pure German Moravian 2-row barley malt for a light blonde color and malty crispness you just can't get from other extracts. Or check out their unique fermenters, draft beer equipment, bottling aids, and more. They even have their own line of precision hydrometers. Go to williamsbrewing.com to browse their vast selection and enter promo code BREW at the order checkout for $5 off your next order over $50. Orders placed by 3 p.m. ship the same day. Again, go to williamsbrewing.com and enter promo code BREW at checkout for $5 off your next order. Brewing is easy, the Williams way.
What's funny is brewers will say, yeah, I don't brew to stop. I'm brewing my own beer. And it's like a German Pilsner, but it's black. Yeah, it's a sports beer. You know?
The home of live beer radio. TheBrewingNetwork.com. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck. You're listening to The Session. You're listening to the Brewing Network. Because like beer, radio shouldn't suck.
All right, welcome back to the program. Wrapping things up here.
Woo! Wrapping it up. I don't know.
JP gets really excited about when we're done.
No, I just...
like, yeah, we're leaving. Woo!
You could have said, all right, and we're back. And I would have said, we're back.
Oh, I just got a text from my cats. I got to go. Woo!
One of them has worms. I'm kind of disappointed.
All crawling out his ass?
Yeah.
All right.
Brutal.
Little, like, they're like segments.
Oh, we're going to go into details here.
No, that's enough. That's
like,
enough.
like
Come
that.
on. My dog had that once, too, when she was a puppy. It's disgusting.
Oof.
Ugh. Hey, did anybody... Just check this out. I got a...
Whoa, we up there.
Speaking of things that aren't gross.
Oh,
so, I got to say, I was... my birthday yesterday was really effing...
Lame.
I was really flattered and taken aback at one point during the day.
Oh.
I go on to my Twitter account to look and see what's happening. I follow a handful of people.
The tweets?
Yeah. And one of the people I follow is Jay Brooks over at the Brookston Beer Bulletin.
Oh, yeah. Saw him on Friday. Good dude.
And Brookston, and I read his blog almost daily. I check it all the time. He always announces people in the beer industry's birthday, calls them beer birthdays, and he does a profile of people in the beer industry. Guess who was on fucking Jay Brooks' page yesterday?
No way. A homeless person.
Justin, this homeless guy with a 40. Can you believe I made Jay Brookston's beer birthday
Congratulations,
list?
Justin.
You've made it.
Yeah.
I was seriously...
That's cool. It's like an industry insider type of blog.
Totally impressed.
Very cool.
I could not...
You are definitely not a home brewer.
I texted him because we're techies.
Congratulations
That's what we do.
Congratulations to the pro brewer in the room.
I am now
nobody on this side of the desk.
I'm now in the industry.
You're a pro.
I'm telling you, I was genuinely surprised, taken aback. I texted the guy that he made my day. I couldn't believe it. He had, pictures of me and Jay, and a picture of me and Mufasa, who, by the way, is going to be on the program in October.
Speaking of technical info,
and,
that's like being a good brewer by like what?
By association.
Yeah, by association.
Absolutely. And
rock star.
I couldn't. I couldn't believe it. I had to bring it up because it's a proud moment in my career. I am not fucking around here.
Very cool.
It was a very proud moment in my career.
I know the blog very well, so yeah, I know it. You should be proud.
It's a good blog.
Is that the first time that we've ever really been written up?
No, we've been
any sort of magazine.
Jay has mentioned
No. But in the birthday context, because it's always just brewers, right?
It's always
industry people.
If you're in the craft beer industry,
yes,
so it's writers.
So if you're a supplier, Frank.
Then no, unless you've made some significant impact, I would imagine it's writers, it's brewers, it's industry moguls.
Industry, yes,
is what it is.
As long as you're not a home brewer.
And you don't get mentioned as a home brewer. You have to be in the craft beer industry.
Definitely,
Tasty.
Yeah.
You're working on that. You're getting there. And the thing is too is now Jay's a friend of mine. I've known him, but I've known him for 4 years now.
Right.
I've never made the beer birthday.
Yeah, I mean you've had other birthdays since you've known him, so it's not like the first one you've had.
So apparently I've reached the threshold of beer contribution, and
nice.
Well, again.
I was, and so Jay, I'm from the bottom of my heart, I was genuinely taken back, and really, it made my day.
You should be flattered.
I kind of flipped out.
BrookstonBeerBulletin.com.
Yeah,
so find those photos of Justin.
You can look at it. You can go yesterday. A lot of goofy photos of me.
Awesome, that's cool.
Yeah, how many comments? You don't usually get 1 or 2 comments there. Why don't we load it up?
I got 4 photos.
Hell yeah,
and comments and a short write up. I think that's
cool.
I'm telling you, it was it was a high point in my career. I mean that. So I thought that was fun.
Well, good. I'm glad that you did that.
Thank you, Jay.
Another stilted comment brought to you by JP.
Brought to you by the folks at JP. Brought to you by the kind-hearted folks at JP.
No,
he's his own industry.
Now, but as I mentioned, Mufasa. I told you there's a picture of us on there. He's going to be on the show. I should probably inform my producer. I'll send you an email tomorrow,
cool.
Chad.
Oh, really?
He's going to be on the show.
The roles are reversed now.
Well, let me tell you what I'm happy about.
He's going to talk about everything I don't know about mashing.
He's on the show because the all-new BJ's is opening right next door to us. In walking distance,
yes,
attached to the Sun Valley Mall right here.
Oh, so he's going to pick up those empty kegs that we have.
Cool. Yes.
That's the only reason he's coming.
That's the only reason he's going to be here. So they're doing a grand opening. It's a week-long thing. I've got passes for you guys. We're going to go have free dinners all week long.
Me too.
Mufasa told me I can go all week, and he told me, he said, give you guys the passes. Yes,
me
you too, JP.
Yeah!
Well, you'll be going on Monday when we're all out of town, but Tuesday through Friday, everybody's going.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's fine. I have shows to record.
Killer German-style beer in Pacheco. Is that too much class for Pacheco? Is it?
Well, it's not Pacheco. In Mufasa's defense, as a smart man and his company, it's Pleasant Hill, which is much, you get a little more class out of that.
Demographic positioning there.
But still not all that pleasant.
Pacheco and Butthole is right
but,
well.
So, You know, EJ Fair is near us, and I like EJ Fair. They're pouring Janet's Brown right now.
Oh, yeah, that's our pub, yeah.
15 other IPAs.
But I can't walk home from EJ Fair.
But this one...
I can walk home. I happen to be on a, not just a handshake, but a hug basis with the brewer, head of brewing operations. I mean, I appeared on a very famous beer bulletin arm in arm with the man.
That's true.
Obviously,
you guys are buds.
Obviously, we're close.
Documented.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like his white son from another mother who was white. Is what I am.
Another white mother.
Not son, brother. He's not that much older.
Please tell me it had something to do with the hiring, because I know he got some hot chicks.
Oh.
If he was involved.
If Mufasa was involved, we're going to have to ask him. So he's going to come out here for the week-long opening. He's going to come in. He's going to do the show. And so we will certainly find that out. We're going to go over there. We're going to have ourselves some beer. And you know what I'm going to do?
Cool.
You know what I'm going to do? Just because it's the one thing I'm excited about, I'm going to get shit-faced and walk home.
Yes.
I just want to try it out.
Because you can.
Because I can. Not because I should, but because I can.
And you know what? I will do it with you.
Great. Perfect. Well, you
even
can,
on a weeknight.
You can walk to my home.
Yeah, I'll walk to your home.
Perfect.
And I'll get my roommate to pick me
because
up.
we can't. I just want to get shit-faced and walk home from the bar. It's a very European thing that us suburb kids don't get to do. I am fired up.
It's an opportunity
now. It's cool if you can do that. Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring my extract brewed Saison and have him try it on the show.
You are.
And then he's going to explode all over me.
I hope he spits it in your face.
This is extract.
And
there will not be one IPA on tap at that bar, though, by the way.
Hey, when's it going to be on?
I fucking hope not.
At BJ's?
At BJ's, no. I can't imagine.
Tasty might have something to do with that.
Yeah.
Is someone on hold? People are trying to get through.
Oh, nobody's on hold.
We're
No.
not answering
Probably
the
just a
phone.
lot of people calling in at once. Sorry, I was talking about myself.
No, I was just,
which meant
there was no
everything
beer,
else gets put on
There was
hold.
no beer information. It was all ego,
Just
like
me,
it is all the time in the Brewing Network.
Me fluffing my ego like we do all the time here on the program.
Yeah.
It really is all about me, isn't it?
Should be.
Okay. So Drunk of the Week calls 888-401-BEER. I'm now watching the phone. I'm looking at it. I'm staring at it. If you call now, I'll be able to answer.
It better be quality.
Hello. Do you want me to screen it or not screen it? But
no, you
pick it up?
can't. No, I'll
up.
just answer it right there. Just 888-401-BEER. We'll take Drunk of the Week calls.
Now no one's calling. Sorry, I'm talking over you.
We've got to give away some Belgian candy sugar tonight, too. We'll probably make it easy. We'll give it to our Drunk of the Week. So the stakes are high this week. Not only will you get in the running for Drunk of the Week, which puts you in the running for Drunk of the Year, you may have to watch out for Chris from Beer Connoisseur Magazine. But
he's in the chat room, by the way.
Oh, great. Okay. But you'll also get yourself some Belgian candy sugar. We'll ship it out to you, courtesy of Dark Candy Inc. We've got our first caller on the line now. Caller, who are we talking to?
This is Decoction.
Decoction. What's happening, brother? Where are you calling from?
From Yakima.
Oh, that's right.
How dare you not know that?
Talking about hops.
Shit.
You're hump country, buddy.
Yeah.
The harvest done?
Yeah.
No, they're still going, like, half the harvest is done, but they're going into the late high alphas.
Okay.
Talking about high alphas, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Are you calling in for Drunk of the Week?
I am.
All right.
I just drank Wild Devil from Victory.
Nice.
Oh, shit, I just spilled on
Hop
myself.
Devil.
You just
this
shit
is
yourself?
Wild
Is that
Devil.
Wild Devil.
You got more than one devil?
Spilled on yourself.
It's Hop Devil in a 750 ml with Brettanomyces.
Oh, wow.
Yum. Sounds good.
great.
I went by 99 bottles. I went to Browers yesterday.
Ooh.
Good place, huh?
Spot.
Yeah, you introduced me to its magicness.
Oh, there's a lot of magicness there. I loved the place. Not only does it look great and feel great, the beer selection is awesome.
And there's unicorns.
Yeah, there was a unicorn.
It was
there.
magical.
There wasn't any hot people working there when we were there, but
No, not
Unicorn
really,
for the camera.
But the beer was hot, totally hot beer.
Yeah.
What else is
I
on your beer resume for tonight, good sir?
Let's see. I had a Alpine Pilsner with a shot of horn dogs added to it.
What's that?
Horn dog.
Horn dog.
What is that?
Sounds dangerous.
Flying Dog's barley wine.
Sounds like an herbal supplement.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then I just cracked a Kiss cider. It's from Lithuania. It's a pear cider.
Really?
He's all over the map of this guy.
Lithuania. Huh?
Cider.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
And then, depending on how the cider goes, I've got a Stone 13th anniversary in the fridge.
Oh, sounds like you better drink the Stone.
Going big.
Yeah, you should pound that right now.
Because you're sounding pretty good, but I think you need to up the ante a little
just
bit.
in case you don't get insider. Yeah.
You're feeling
I'm really
good, but you're
good.
going to feel great. after the 13th.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just really good at controlling myself.
I see. Well,
you did spill on
It's too hard
yourself,
to-
so
unfortunately,
I did.
that is not conducive to winning Drunk of the Week.
I
It's
know.
not about control.
Yeah.
Lacking control.
It's not. I have to start typing badly.
You do. You'll have to do that. Okay, Mr. Coction, I'm going to
All right.
clear the line. You are in the running for Drunk of the Week.
Timer.
Yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later. All right. 888-401-BEER. You could try Skype, too. I'll try to monitor both, see if I can answer all of that. The winner of Drunk of the Week tonight is going to win some Belgian candy sugar, courtesy Dark Candy Inc. Now, keep in mind, we're not on the air next Sunday. There's no official Sunday session next week. But there's lots of programming coming down the wire from the Great American Beer Festival. So you're going to be able to stay tuned to justin.tv/brewing network and get more shows than we've ever brought home from the GABF. So even though there's not a Sunday show, you're going to get tons of content. JP's not going.
I'm not going.
He's also not. He wasn't going to GABF because he had to go to Disneyland. But now I think he's not even going to Disneyland.
Why you gotta bring
I
that
think
up?
instead he's going to
Magic Mountain.
Out of my mind.
He's going questing all week or something.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Caller, you're on the air. Who are we talking to?
Oh, you're talking to Bug Eater.
Oh, Boog. What's up, Boog?
Boog. How are you, brother?
Ooh. Oh, doing real good. Out here in Longmont, Colorado, we've been brewing a 10-gallon batch of beer with Branson.
Oh,
Awesome.
Branson.
Oh, that sounds like an awful time.
Another great BN'er. Very nice.
Oh, yeah, drinking lots of great beer and everything.
What'd you guys make?
Big reason I wanted to call was to give you a report on the Great Nebraska Beer Festival last Sunday.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, we had I had volunteered to serve beer at the thing, but Paul Kavalek, you remember interviewing him last year at GABF,
Yeah.
he offered the Brewing Network a booth so we could go promote ourselves there at the Beer Festival.
Is that right? So
Yeah,
you guys had a Brewing Network booth?
We had a Brewing Network booth.
Wow.
Brewtat sent me a bunch of temporary tattoos and business cards. Chad was going to send me a bunch of flyers, but he never got them mailed off to me.
I think I did see them packaged up, though. He did get halfway there.
Is that what's in the trash can over here?
Yeah.
He got them packaged, but somehow screwed up the mailing.
Well, he's a
But
busy
anyway,
man.
We met lots and lots of great people. We got a few new people signed up in the forum this week that met me out there. So we had a great time, and we got people that are really starting to listen to us now.
Hey, that's awesome, Bug.
That's great.
I had one couple come up from Kansas City. They saw on the forum that Brewing Network was going to have a booth, and that was the deciding factor of them even coming up to the beer festival.
No kidding. So it was even on the website that we had a booth.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Hop
mentioned
grenade.
I mentioned it in the forum in there, so hey,
JP,
we were bringing it strong there.
JP, I hope you've noticed that I have now begun outsourcing our presence at beer festivals. And the Brewing Network, we outsourced. We were at a festival we didn't even know about.
Yes,
it's wonderful.
That's how we work.
I'm telling you, this outsourcing of my life is going to change everything. It's a game changer, is what it is. That's what we call it.
You were too busy getting trashed out there at Burning Man, so
I was.
had to go through Chad.
You can't be getting trashed every place at one time. So.
Listen, there's not enough drugs on the earth for me to get trashed everywhere.
Like at some points, but
same time. Yeah.
So, Bug, was this like a competition? Was it a homebrew event? What was the deal?
Oh, we had 25 brewers from 25 breweries from all over the country. So there were 7 from Nebraska and the rest from all over. Like the folks from August Shell, they were the night before. They were up in Wisconsin, someplace at a brew festival, and they drove all night down there to be with
August
us.
Shell.
Wow, nice.
Crazy Minnesotans once again.
Oh, they had some great beers. Wonderful Rogan beer and their Oktoberfest.
Very German style, yeah. Excellent beers.
Did you put Brewing Network BN Army tattoos on any cleavage, Boog?
Didn't get on any cleavage.
God.
I tried.
Oh. You tried.
Dang.
I tried. I begged.
And
I
you
tried.
know he did, too. That's the good thing. It's like
But it
you
just
know
did.
he did.
Yeah. Well, good effort, Boog. That's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Well, we'll see in a couple days here.
All right. Are you officially on vacation now? I know you like to take your vacation at GABF.
Oh, yeah, I drove out here on Friday.
Good man. All right. We'll see you in a couple days. And listen, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for representing us out there.
Yeah.
You're quite welcome.
All right, Boog. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.
There you go.
Kick Branson in the penis, too.
Boog and Branson.
Boog eater.
Good people. How about that?
Yeah.
See, I'm on.
It's pretty awesome.
JP.
You are?
I will not. I'm going to outsource the hosting of this show before you know it.
Your man in Nebraska.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the Brewing Network.
Tasty, you're such a funny man. I love having you here. How was that festival, you sleepy fuck?
Your one-line zingers really make me laugh to garnish.
Oh, Chad, you are higher than the cows I worship. It's beautiful. I love seeing you. You're doing a wonderful job, you dick.
Come here, you chubby tit. Let me hug you.
Oh, Nathan Smith, you do such a wonderful job talking about things that nobody gives a shit.
Nobody understand anything.
I love this show. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye, everybody. Yeah, I can't wait.
Good. It'll be the same.
I'll call in. I'm gonna one day
call into your own show.
Here's when everyone always asks, when do you decide you've made it? I'm always asking the question let me tell you when I've made it. When I'm the one just calling in for Drunk of the Week every week. I'm just somewhere else calling in for Drunk of the Week.
That's a good metric, Justin. I think you've made it.
Hello, Justin. Are you calling for Drunk of the Week today? Yes, I would like to do that. I'm calling you from France. I'm in Paris today. Wonderful! I love the country. What is your beer resume? What have you had? Tell us. Can you puke on the air? Show me your tits. I mean your girlfriend's tits. Somebody's tits. It'll help you win. I can't wait. Really excited about it.
And if you barely remember to call in, that's even better. Yeah. It has to be like towards the tail end of the show.
Yeah.
And you're just hammered as hell, and you can barely remember to call.
Justin, you're late. We're just about to go off the air. We have to order pizza.
That is it, people. No more phone calls. But Justin hasn't called in. I do not care. Yeah. I have to feed the dogs.
Yeah. I have to do his laundry.
That's all sorts.
There is shit to be picked from the backyard.
Yes.
I think I got a caller. You're on the air. Who are we talking to?
Justin, this is T-Rocket.
What's happening, T-Rocket? How are you, brother?
What's the T for?
Hey, Dio, Drunk of the Week.
All right. Give us the resume, my friend. Where are you calling from, by the way?
Oklahoma City. Hey, no rundown here because I don't have anything other than a kegerator.
Oh, well, what have you been drinking out of the kegerator?
It's pretty much just my own IPA.
Okay.
That'll do the job.
Yeah, what's the percent on that IPA you've been drinking?
Well, it's looking at about 7.
Yeah. What kind of hops are in it?
It's got Chinook, Cascade, Simcoe. I can't remember.
Sounds tasty.
I think you should do a keg stand on this kegerator, American sir.
Well, I haven't ever called in because I'm the guy that sent you the DOTW medals.
Oh, right.
Oh, you already have one, I bet.
This is the man who is responsible for the medals.
You can send them all, huh?
I never took one.
I see.
See, that's Brewer's Code right there.
That is Brewer's Code.
That is Brewer's Code.
That's a good man.
You wanted to earn it.
And,
well, how many pints have you had off that?
That's a good question, Tasty.
How many Vicodin did you take with the pints? You sound real sleepy, too.
It's all those hops, man. They make you tired.
No.
I think this is really just Tasty
what I
calling
do. I'm kind of like Tasty. I kind of get to that point where
I just don't care.
Kind of go to sleep.
I just kind of hang out until I sleep. That's what I do, man.
It's like my wife says, "Give me the remote."
Yeah. Before you fall asleep with it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you sound like you're doing pretty good, T-Rocket. I got you at the top of my list right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Doing all right.
It's a good show. Good job, Nathan.
Drink one more pint of that IPA. I bet it's excellent.
Yeah. You enjoy one.
I'll go get it.
There he goes.
Get it right now.
All right, good man. You're in the running, my brother.
See you.
Later.
I guarantee he's got a medal. It's probably like a Flavor Flav clock-like size.
Big-ass one, yeah.
No, I kind of believe he sounds real straight and narrow like that. He's like, no, I'm not allowed to take a medal. I'm
fine.
I've not earned it.
He's kind of like that right now.
Yeah, he's trying to earn it. I like that. Looks like I missed a call from Blobbergloop on Skype.
Oh, that's
which,
too bad.
By the way, makes me not want to, because his Skype never works, right?
No.
Uh-oh. Get ready for the microphone.
I'm a glutton for punishment. Why not?
High end.
Yeah, watch your... I'll turn him up slowly. Watch your earbuds.
I feed him in.
Hey, blooby, glooby, globby, glooby, 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 blop.
Hello.
What's up, buddy?
Is my microphone working
now? No, it's not working.
Are you
of course it's not working. It never works.
And don't
insect microphone.
Yeah, don't fix it either, please.
Yeah.
Why should I not fix it?
Do I really have to deal with Blobberglop if I'm going to be your replacement?
That is extra money. Thank you.
I am upping my hourly wage from $3 to $3.25.
Thank you.
We negotiated something that is now void.
I am Blobberglop. It's not 3 a.m. I am not taking care of your computer.
Oh, we've outsourced Blobber.
I've outsourced Blobber.
Oh.
Yeah, I would love it if Blobberglop outsourced himself.
Oh, man.
Hello, this is Blobberglop.
Do you think I could hire someone to fill in for me and they would Skype in and do the show for $5 an hour?
Yes.
I would pay them.
Maybe less, yeah.
And that's what I'm telling you. You're not listening to me.
You're not outsourcing.
Yes,
I am, but
the
I
answer
don't
is
believe it.
You can outsource everything. Yes, if you wrote here's the thing. You just have to be specific and detailed about what it is that you do, what time you do it, and what's expected of you. And I'll tell you what, JP, for around $5 an hour, we could probably get a much better JP onto this program.
Well, that's not nice.
You know, a well-informed, you'll probably pay attention.
To what?
And listen, we're talking, what's that, $15-20 a week? It's a 4-hour show. It's
pretty good.
Can
you imagine the Indian version of me?
I'm going to kill myself and you and make suits of both of us. What? Yes, that's right.
I have to wash my cow.
Forgive me while I quest.
I cannot go to the Delhi Beer Festival.
Tasty doesn't like me and I'm sick of it.
I love my cats even though they're sinful.
I really love my sinful cats. Yes. All right, Blobber, are you calling in for Drunk of the Week or what?
Why not?
All right, what have you had?
Beer.
Tell us more.
Stop breathing into this.
Jesus Christ.
Sour beer.
Yeah.
What sour beer?
Gerhard Tankers.
Oh, that's one of the best.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Then I had a beer from New Zealand.
Was it sour?
Called, no, it's a Kellerweiss, actually. It's a Keller beer.
Does his microphone actually spin in circles as he's talking to it? Because it comes close. Is it on a fucking rope that spins from the ceiling fan? It gets close to his mouth and then it goes away.
It's everything good audio is not.
I really want to call it the Drunk of the Week because
He's like AC/DC to himself. He can't.
He's like Angus.
Yeah. He's the opposite of himself.
I want to rock!
What else, Blobber? What have you had?
Right, so the Keller beer from New Zealand. Really good beer, actually. And then Péché Mortel.
Is that Canadian?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Yeah. Dieu du Ciel. It's a brewery from Montreal.
I know them. I had their IPA last week. It was good.
I like that Nathan is having a conversation with Blobberglop. Nobody ever has conversations with Blobberglop.
Now you're encouraging him.
It's more...
He doesn't know better
It's not what we... I do like you. It's a good effort, Nathan. You're doing fine. It's like...
I got to keep him engaged.
It's a lot like To Catch a Predator. I mean, he tries to have a conversation with them just before they get arrested.
So Phil Dorito, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Why did you bring cookies and condom to this little girl's house?
I thought it was...
That is no excuse. You are an awful human being.
All right, Blobber, hang in there. I got a caller on, too. I'm not going to hang up, and you stay there. Caller, who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
You are talking to the beer connoisseur, Chris Man.
Chris!
Oh, Chris, how's it going?
That's right.
I did have faith in you, Chris. I thought you might go for Drunk of the Week.
Figured out the phone number.
It took me a while, but I'm here.
Yeah. I have a feeling that Chris actually lives at Beer Connoisseur headquarters. He sleeps on the couch there in the lobby.
I do.
I do.
All right. What have you had tonight? That's notable.
Tonight I had a French Broad Kolsch Growler.
I love French Broads.
Whoa. The whole growler.
Yeah, that's from Asheville.
Half a
From
gallon.
Asheville. I had a Lancer Brewing's Red Brick Blonde, which is award-winning. They won the GABF or the blonde category a few years ago.
Nice.
Okay.
Hoptoberfest.
Nice.
Mardesos, which is a Belgian beer. Did I pronounce that right? Probably not.
Meritsu, I think, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now I'm drinking a homebrew from Doug, who was here earlier but left because, he doesn't drink like I do.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Good.
Called out.
Yeah.
Drink the homebrew.
Oh.
So, I think that's it. So only about, 54 ounces of beer.
It was that growler that's getting you there right now, though, I think.
Yeah, it's that homebrew. I'll put you over the edge right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done, actually.
Yeah. I gotta go. My wife's gotta drive me home now.
I gotta call my wife to pick me up.
Yeah.
It's a long story.
Right.
So
All right,
the
well-
chat room wants to know what song Chris and Blobber are going to sing together.
They want them to sing together
because
for
this
their,
is Chris's first Drunk of the Week phone call,
And they're both on the line right now.
And yeah, exactly. And in order to be initiated into the running, when your first time, you got to sing with Blobber.
I thought Blobber only ever sings "The Wind Beneath My Wings."
Pretty
Isn't that
much.
his only.
He'll sing
Hey, I sing Hey Jude.
You do
from the Beatles.
Hey, Blobber, will Hey Jude do for tonight's sing along?
Anything will do.
I will sing anything. I see. All right, you guys gonna have to
I'll
give me.
sing YMCA.
What? What is it?
Hey, Jude.
Wait, hang
You're
on,
not
Blobber.
having a phone conversation with Jude. You're singing to Jude.
Yeah, that's.
Hey, Jude. Cross the street. You owe me $1.
I love Jude. Yeah. All right. Hang on, Dewey. You wait a second.
Blobber, hold on.
What?
Hold on. Wait.
Oh, this is going to be bad. I can already tell you.
No, it's going to be wonderful. You guys are going to kill it.
To Nicole for me.
I will.
Yay!
Yeah.
I love the Trappist.
I tell her you had a, Belgian-style Canadian beer.
What album is Hey Jude on?
The Abbey Road.
I have no idea, actually.
I'm guessing Abbey
It's
Road.
not Abbey Road, I don't think.
But I think it's later than that. Probably the White Album. Or the Blue Album.
Let's sing something from the Black Album from Metallica.
Oh, God.
Actually, I believe Hey Jude is the album name.
It is?
Well, I just Wikipedia it.
Should I just start singing?
I should know this.
No, don't.
Yeah, why don't you guys just start singing? If I come up with the music, it'll be perfect.
But
Go ahead, Blobber.
cut out the
Actually,
list.
No, that's
Chris
going to
is,
be bad.
Chris is with you.
Chris, sing with me.
You start.
Don't make it bad.
Bad. Take a sad song and make it better.
Yeah.
Remember to let her into your heart.
Take something. Yeah, this is bad.
Awesome.
I thought it was perfect.
These guys are ruling it, man.
Everybody's cheering for you.
Hey Jude, hey Jude, don't be afraid. Hey, go.
It is really a good song to choose. All right, nice work, gentlemen, both of you.
Well done.
All right, we're going to, well, guess what? It's a joint drunk of the week tonight. Not that kind of joint tasty, relax. Blobber Glop and Chris from A Beer Connoisseur are going to have to share drunk of the week honors.
Whoa.
But really well earned. I mean, you guys, you put your best foot forward on this one.
Yeah, I did my best.
Yes, you did. You know what, Chris? I like you a lot. Your magazine, you keep involved with that, and that's going to be the key to success.
You
is
keep
Chris.
doing that.
You keep.
Yes.
As long as they keep you around, that magazine's going to do just fine.
Which is essentially is a nice way of saying don't quit your day job to go sing.
No, it's
That's
not.
what you're saying.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, wait. No, I want to know, what are you trying to say to me? I need to know. I don't understand.
No. I genuinely mean that magazine needs you to not take itself too seriously. I think you guys are going to do fine.
No, that's my role in the magazine, so I'm the drinking side.
And you're going to be at the GABF?
Of course, I'll be there every day.
All right, good.
Yep, I'll be at the booth the entire time.
I'll be handing you your Drunk of the Week medal personally.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You have
That's
earned
awesome.
it. All right, brother, we'll see you in a few days.
All right, take care, guys.
Later.
Cheers.
And Blobber, don't you already have a Drunk of the Week medal?
No.
You don't?
No.
What?
Really? You've never won?
Well, not just.
Whoa.
He's got two.
I don't like it when you use this voice.
Don't go into Black Album mode yet.
All right, I'm going to send you a Drunk of the Week medal, Blobber.
Eventually.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm going to send it via the Pony Express. It will be in Canada very soon.
My man in Canada will send it to you right away.
I'm going
Hey, love you long time.
to outsource the sending of these medals. I'm telling you, everything's going to start running more efficiently around here. You'll see.
Well, it's the only way to find out.
All right, Blubber. Later, brother.
Later.
Good work.
Greg
Yeah, the
loves
whole-
beer in the chat room, needs an ear rape kit, he says.
What does that mean?
What?
An ear rape kit. Because Blobber's awful. Everyone either loves Blobber on the phone
or hates him.
Or like this dude wants Blobber-proof earphones.
No, I actually would say that the earphones in Studio B are quite nice. Because when I hear this at home with Blobber on his bad microphone, it's awful.
It's real bad.
It's just
Dad.
horrible.
Yeah.
This is actually all right. You guys are making it, man. This is like, it's professional in here. It sounds great.
Trying to make it happen, you know? It's a lot of hard work from JP, is what's happening.
Well, you want to know, I have a
throwing it
theory
down,
on it. One time, I would like to talk about my theories.
For a whole show?
For a whole show.
Tasty's ready for that.
Do I get sick days?
He'll be here for that.
Because I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Yeah. Do I have any vacation time left?
Oh, Bevo took it all. Damn. What happened?
Tasty, you're my anchor on that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe now that I think about it, you might be right about that.
You're the wind beneath his nuts. You know?
All right. I'll be there.
All right, I think we're done. Don't forget, next week there is no session. But there's plenty of programming coming to you from GABF. We'll be back the following Sunday.
Denver, Colorado.
And also coming up in October, like I said, Mufasa will be here. Brand new opening of our very own BJ's, very close to us. And listen, BJ's. There's nothing bad about those or that.
Yes.
You can't go wrong. Am I right, JP?
I think the beer was good.
Thanks.
Great beer, great
Thanks for paying
experience.
attention
You're welcome.
tonight. Am I missing anything, Chet?
We're good.
That's going to do it. All right, don't forget to pay attention to our sponsors. They're nice people, and they like attention. Go to their websites. Tell them we sent you. Buy products from them. They're all wonderful, wonderful, beautifully wonderful people.
I am talking about.
Also, you can go to the store and you can buy yourself some merch. There'll be brand new shirts after GABF. There's still BNA4 gear in there. Get it while it's mediocre and hot-ish.
Hot.
Lukewarm. Get it while it's lukewarm.
Totally hot.
Enter those competitions.
It's going to run out. Don't forget to enter the Seven Bridge Cooperative Organic Beer
And
Competition.
The Oktoberfest competition from Mad Zymergist.
That's right.
MadZymergist.org.
There you go. And
Get in there.
I think that's it. Do I have anything else to announce?
Well, you really creeped me
all
out
we
with the
need.
Indian voices tonight.
Yeah.
I'm traumatized.
Not gonna be able to
Jeb,
sleep
shut
well?
the fuck up.
I worked at IBM and they
Outsourced
outsourced
Jed.
all that crap.
Right.
So, like, to get my password changed for, like, an email, all of a sudden they start talking to these people from India.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we start getting these emails, the staff,
Yeah.
and they're talking about, like, people in India, like, women that have never had jobs are going into these jobs and answering phones.
Right.
And they're all stressed out. They live a really, like, pretty regular lifestyle,
Tough
not a lot
life,
of stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they start having miscarriages of
Oh,
like
boy.
babies and like so
That's
bad
not
to
good.
outsource. So I'm a little like freaked out by all this.
Oh, I'm outsourcing. Wait till you show. I don't care about all that.
Yeah.
Wait till you show up at the next BN meeting,
Yeah.
and it's
True story, though.
and just
Justin
coming,
won't be there.
All that is coming through the speakers is my Indian virtual assistant.
Well, the world needs less people, first of all.
Chet, Justin wants you to get back to fucking work. Those were his words.
So we will change your password from Ballsack89 to Jimmy Loves Jizz 47. Is that two Z's or only one, Chud?
Capital Z or lowercase?
Your new password, I hope you want to know it. It is no longer Suck It Tasty.
It's suck me tasty.
That was the biggest issue, trying to spell things out.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Yeah,
I see RID.
Please, one more.
We won't translate that well.
You all think it's a joke. There's no joke about this. Everything is
Shouldn't be a
getting
joke.
outsourced,
Good.
including my communication with Chad.
That's life.
Hello, Chad. Justin wants me to ask how you're doing today. How is your day going? And do you need anything? He is not going to... Don't speak to him when you see him in the living room. Leave him alone.
By the way, clean up that dog shit.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and he does like you. He told me to tell you he likes you. Goodbye, Chad. Have a nice day.
And you look handsome.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks here in the studio. But Justin.tv/Brewing Network. That's your key to great GABF entertainment. And if you sign up for our Twitter account, Twitter.com/Brewing Network, you'll find out the exact show times as they're happening all week long. Go to GABF.org, I think it is, to find a full schedule of what we're doing. Everything in the Brewers Pavilion will be broadcast on the Brewing Network. It's hosted by the Brewing Network, so check it out. Right, JP? Facebook. Goodbye, JP.
Oh, very nice.
Like good barley wine, chocolate porter, cherry stout. Yeah, you know what I am.